Chapter 402 Engagement. Chapter 402 Engagement. Psomer, you're always running to and fro, gaining knowledge with every trip. I'm sure there are many oddities you've collected along the way. I am very eager to see what you have for me. 2 princes down and 1 to go. Now that the 3rd prince's turn had arrived, his largeness fat body was planted firmly in his chair. The emperor looked at him oddly and teased the chubby, trembled, wiped his ever-sweaty brow, and wobbled to his feet before the emperor with a bright smile. He, Imperial Father, I actually planned on giving you a great gift, top grade in fact, of perfect design and quality. To the point. The emperor's face darkened. The tubby wiped his oily hands, sweat falling down his brow like torrential rain, and took coy tone. But I recalled Imperial Father's teachings. All the lands belong to the king, and all the people are the king's subjects. So what could I possibly give the Imperial Father when everything in this world is already yours? Anything that I would offer would be taking the Imperial Father's item only to return it. There is nothing in this world truly mine to give. As such, the emperor's eyes grew colder, swallowing dryly. The fatty wiped more sweat before saying, as such, Imperial Father, you must understand. Humph, of course I do. At my centennial jubilee, everyone on earth pays me tribute, yet only my son comes up empty. No, Imperial Father, you've got it all wrong. I believed that anything that I would present would be too crude and quaint to express my deep love and endless respect for my Imperial Father. For this reason, I have sought the help of a great teacher for a month to learn a dance for your anniversary. The fatty came to the front, cueing the music and going down into a wobbly, strange thing called dancing. No, it was a bit too soon to call it a dance. It was more or less along the lines of quirky, jumping. His largeness flicked his hair, batted his eyes, his bubbly cheeks bouncing at the slightest movement. It was downright revolting, hideous, and worthy of nothing but being thrown out. It was like looking at the sea from a boat, with the waves going up and down and up, and, while the blob bounced around, quaking the floor with every downstroke, so too did the audience, maybe too in tune with the artist and his handy dash footwork. Even their guts were doing the rumba. It was truly a jolting experience, Crack. It wasn't just one. Oh no, the entire audience was cracking their knuckles, looking at the graceful ballerina with bloodshot eyes. If not for him being a self-respecting prince, they would probably be raining fists and kicks by this point. Sweet mother of mercy! A dance should be easy on the eyes, but yours is sucking the life out of me. The emperor's face took so many shades of white even he didn't know it could. Shaking to his very bones, his fists clenched, his eyes red, pouring every ounce of his strength into not jumping in there to sock the ball into cutting the hellish dance out. But at some point, something was bound to snap, and that unfortunately happened to be his patience. Stop! Rumble. The fatty froze with a bent waist, blinking his big puppy eyes at the emperor's bloodshot ones. Every single guest breathed easier, cherishing this moment of peace on earth. Tsunger, next time, bring that great teacher of yours. I promise not to kill him. Now go. The emperor sighed. The chubby bowed and then hopped and banged his way to the chair, pleased as a punch for getting away with it. The rest of the guests were eternally grateful that the horror show had ended. We are blessed that our eyes aren't scarred from watching your chipper son bounce. Your mercy has no bounds, Emperor. The crown prince stood up again. Imperial Father, although the 3rd brother's dance may be a bit rough around the edges, his intentions are good and his heart pure. Please bestow him a reward, Imperial Father. Humph! Can anything live up to his performance? The emperor's eyes flashed. Crown prince chuckled. Imperial Father, 3rd brother has been an oddball since birth. With your endless affection, only giving me and the 2nd brother something will make the 3rd brother feel left out. Please consider his sincere feelings and offer him a little something. A token, perhaps. I'll say it one last time. I can bestow a reward on anyone on this land, except him. The emperor's smile was cold. What bestowal would even be worthy anyway? It sent a cold shiver down the hearts of everyone. The emperor implied that he was grumbling from having such a fatty as a son. But how could the ruler be so short-sighted, fussing with his son over trifles? Zhuo Fan scratched his nose, exchanging a look with the first and second great minds. He already had an idea what was up, only the second prince put on a mocking smile. Crown Prince tried it again. "Imperial father, please." "Silence," the emperor said. "Crown Prince, there are some things you have no sway over." "It's fine, elder brother. I know I've stepped on the imperial father's nerves. Not receiving anything is normal. There's no need to try anymore." The fatty pouted, lamented, and advised second prince enjoyed their distress. One's a hypocrite, the other's a blob. At least they have each other. Humph. The crown prince gnashed his teeth and gave one last look to the emperor before taking a seat. His hands were clenched tight, the fingers digging into his palms. Just why is it like this? I am the crown prince. How can I lose to that lard? Glancing at the second prince's mocking face, Crown Prince taunted, "You idiot, not even this can get through your thick skull?" Anyone can be rewarded, except the emperor. What the imperial father just did was that he showed his intent on the successor. But why does it have to be him? The crown prince looked at the fatty, who was saluting back in gratitude. Is the punk oblivious to imperial father's meaning, or is he just that good at faking it? In the crown prince's eyes, the longer he stared at his horizontally challenged brother, a thicker bloodthirst was brewing. The celebration went on with the officials, the 7 houses, and the delegation presenting their gifts, each with a reward returned in kind as the music picked up once again. Graceful and stacked girls glided into the room while dancing. With that lardass setting the mood for an upset stomach with his class act, the audience got to appreciate these girls' efforts much better, to the point that they saw them as starlets, mesmerizing and soothing whoosh. One figure jumped out of the crowd and presented a plate of peaches to the emperor. "Happy anniversary, imperial father. May your joy be boundless and your life never-ending." The emperor looked at the apple of his eyes, and his heart softened. "Ha ha ha, Yongning, you have brought me the best gift." "Truly." Yongning jumped up with a smile and went for a hug. Then, "Imperial father, please reward me properly." "Ha ha ha, of course. What would you like?" The emperor laughed, doting on her with a wobbling face. The fatty pointed a sausage at his dear sister and cut her off. "Imperial father, didn't you want to know my great dancing teacher? It's her. But worry not, Yongning, imperial father's word is gold. He won't beat you to death." The emperor looked off kilter. "Yongning, did you teach Tsonger to dance?" Ugh. Blushing, Yongning glared at the living fat. She had also witnessed that thing's high-class act. It was like a horror show, but now accepting that she was the grand dance teacher behind it all. Wouldn't that ruin her reputation? Yongning explained, "Imperial father, don't listen to his gaffe. I've taught him to the best of my abilities. But his dancing is just that nauseating. Ha ha ha, I see. My princess dancing is the best in Tianyu." The emperor nodded. "Yongning, you still haven't told me what you want." Blushing, Yongning peeked at Zhuo Fan, twiddling with her bracelet, acting coy and all. Imperial father, don't you think it's time? I mean, for mother's final wish." The emperor nodded, sending her back to the center, and shouted, "Yongning, Zhuo Fan, here is my decree. Today, Princess Yongning and best steward beneath heavens, Zhuo Fan, shall be wedded." What? Unlike the exuberant Yongning, everyone else was dumbstruck. Zhuo Fan figured something like this was coming and sneered inside. It didn't end with just some simple decree. The second prince found his guts from God knew where and jumped forth. "Imperial father, I have long since taken a liking to the parish's holy maiden Yunshuang. I ask the imperial father to wed us." The emperor grinned and sighed. What's up with today? Everything is falling together perfectly. He had long been thinking about how to steal Yun clan back from the Luo clan, to take advantage of Zhuo Fan's calculative ploy, using this perfect chance to do just that. The emperor nodded inside. "Marvelously done, my son!" And spoke, "Happiness comes in two today, with Miss Schwanger tying the knot with my son." Second prince kowtowed. Yun Shuang shuddered, crestfallen, grabbing Zhuo Fan's arm tighter out of instinct with a confident smile on. Zhuo Fan gave her a warm look. It's okay. You are with me now. It will never change. Yun Shuang's eyes turned red, but her heart regained calm. The last time she'd been so at ease was when her grandfather was alive. Chapter 403, Breaking All Pretense. Chapter 403, Breaking All Pretense. There was a damp and dark tunnel littered with checkpoints made of sealed heavy doors, and 2 radiant stage experts, standing guard at each one of them. Their moods were heavy as their eyes narrowed. A guard holding a set of keys approached. With a flash of a badge, the gate opened. The badge read Emperor's Approval Gate after gate. The guard had to pass through 18 of them to reach the end. It was a small, dark room with a pint-sized figure resting on a simple bed, chewing lazily on something. What does the old coot want this time? Taking another bite, a tender voice came, filled with disdain. You come to me for help, yet lock me up in this hellhole whenever you're done with me. For 300 years I've kept my word, the only saving grace you have from my rage. And these things, I have never eaten worse garbage in 300 years. Aren't I a divine dragon? Whoosh! He threw away the thing at the guard with a bang. It flashed past the guard's face, wind biting his face. It made a meter-deep hole in the wall behind him, and even shook the whole place, yet the thing was still intact. The guard was scared out of his mind. This place was made of a 7th-grade material, crystallized black tungsten, turning it into a fortress. But to this guy, it was like paper, a casual flick, and the place got ventilation. The guard made a shaky bow. Sir Gu Santong, please calm down. I am only conveying the Emperor's orders to handle a tough opponent. I'm not going. Gu Santong snorted. I've only promised to defend the imperial family. There's nothing in it related to putting me to work. Do it yourself. The guard begged again. Sir, His Majesty is requesting you in person. This man is an exceptional expert. How could anyone match him? Moreover, His Majesty promises to improve your meals. Improve? By how much? Gu Santong raised an eyebrow. The guard picked up 3 fingers. 3rd-grade ingredient every day, with 4th grade on holidays. Gu Santong's eyes spun, and then he shook his head. 4th grade every day, and 5th grade on holidays. No, make that 6th grade. It's a deal. The guard let out a carefree nod. The promise was still within His Majesty's limits. I need to get this young master out of here fast. Gu Santong hopped around in joy. He'd finally sleep with a full belly from now on. Oh, and who's the one you're after? You've never asked me to act before. Ha ha ha. His Majesty will tell you when the moment comes. We are just guards, transmitting his orders. We cannot fathom His Majesty's mind. Gu Santong didn't care. As long as he had his fill, he'd capture anyone. Back at the feast, the Emperor had just declared a marriage, bringing joy to the kneeling Yongning. Next to her was Yuan Yong on his knees, as well. Though he was a nervous wreck just before this exchange, he had seen Zhuo Fan and Yun Shuang being all lovey-dovey, and now he had asked the imperial father for her hand. He was out to steal another person's girl. It wouldn't make a difference to your average citizen, but that right there was the best steward beneath heavens. Zhuo Fan's rage was still very much ingrained in his mind. Back when the guy flattened his home, of course, he'd be trembling. But a sneak peek at Hell Valley side, catching the nod of a figure, he relaxed. I just hope it'll go like he said, and Zhuo Fan won't put my princely head on a pike. Luo Yunchang was testy, not over Yun Shuang, but while glaring at Yongning. She has had her eyes on the heartthrob Zhuo Fan for years. Yet this broad was just going to take him from her? She wouldn't have it. Zhuo Fan finally spoke. Your Majesty. He did a full salute, but his tone was icy. Please withdraw your edict. I and Miss Schwanger are perfect for each other long since we've gotten together. It wouldn't be right for us to marry another. What? Everyone was slack-jawed. They guessed the two had been on good terms, knowing each other well after only a month. But how did they get entangled to such a degree so fast? Luo Yunchang was puzzled. The two had only displayed their affection today. When did they get to do the horizontal mambo? And how come she didn't know? Yun Shuang froze, her eyes red and confused. What is he up to? Impossible. Yongning shot to her feet, refuting those claims. I and Schwanger are practically sisters, and I've also been by the Prosperity compound many times. I would have realized in an instant if anything was up. Zhuo Fan grinned at her hot-headedness. Of course you'd realized, and so did everyone else in the Luo clan. Don't you remember the night you'd invited me to celebrate that woman, perhaps? Shuddering, everyone turned to the young, frail Yun Shuang, who was flushing harder than a tomato with tears in her eyes. She was a sensible girl and couldn't endure having her mortifying moment to be out in the open. Zhuo Fan had other things on his mind besides the trifling things like shame. He grabbed Yun Shuang's hand and sneered. That was Shuanger. Everyone in Luo clan can attest since I was doing my business when they burst in. That does seem to be the case. Luo Yunhai nodded. He was clueless towards Zhuo Fan's aim in exposing such a degrading affair. But he figured it will all lead somewhere. For scheming demons were jumping and hooting in confirmation, as well Zhuo Fan and Yun Shuang were an item. There were no two ways about it. Yongning and Luo Yunchang glared daggers at Yun Shuang. Defend the guy all you'd like, but it was hard to find the traitor in one's midst. What a good sister! Stealing my man from right under my nose. Yun Shuang looked devastated with her head low, pointed out by all husbands what a chippy she was. All those stares were making her sick. The emperor watched it all with a cold dragon's eye, his fingers drumming on the table. With a deep breath, his boundless, majestic voice came. Are you done? The wedding is tomorrow. Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow and laughed. Your Majesty, if I don't feel like it, there's no one in the world that can make me. Bam! The emperor flew off the handle. Insolent. I am the ruler here, the emperor. My decree is final. Zhuo Fan, you dare question my authority? All eyes watched in shock, their hearts drumming in their chests. What's up with His Majesty? That is the best steward beneath heavens. You honored yourself. Marriage is such a trifle, so why make such a big fuss and fly into a rage? Something isn't right about this. It's not just about fighting an edict. The old foxes noticed discrepancies. Zhuge Changfeng and Leng Wucheng knew even more, showing endless calm. The emperor has had enough. He's about to act. Imperial father, please calm down. I and Shuanger are sisters. Even if we have the same husband, it'll be fine. Second brother doesn't fit Shuanger anyway. Please take your edict back and don't take your anger out on them. Yongning feared the emperor would do something to the couple. In his rage, the emperor wouldn't have it. Silence! I have had enough of Zhuo Fan's vile morals. Seriously wounding the delegation. Destroying a prince's home, undermining my authority in contempt of court, brash, arrogant, and violent. On such a blessed day, I wanted to make him my son-in-law, yet he refuses my edict. A criminal such as he is a plague on this land. In his rage, the emperor dumped one crime after another on Zhuo Fan's head. He had so many piled up that even 100 deaths would be too light a punishment. Zhuo Fan, Leng Wucheng, and Zhuge Changfeng were the calmest, having seen it all come. If one wanted someone dead, he'd just find the pretext to do it. The emperor can lift you, can sanctify you, but can also bury you, demonize you. It's all at the emperor's whim. If he wants you hanged, he'd find some excuse. Don't you worry. Funny how it matched perfectly with Zhuo Fan, who had always called himself a demon. Finding faults couldn't be easier, while the blunt Xuanrong looked unstumped. I say, why let him live if he's a criminal on death row? Shouldn't you be over and done with this demon the moment you found him? Zhuo Fan sneered. Your Majesty does not seem to hold me in any regard. Staying here is pointless. Let's go. Zhuo Fan left with the Luo clan bam. The emperor slammed the table. Humph! Zhuo Fan, you think so highly of yourself, showing contempt to me? You won't run away that easily. Oh, who, I wonder, and whole Tianyu has the power to stop me. Zhuo Fan mocked, pretentious. Though everyone agreed inside, Zhuo Fan did have the power to back that claim. The emperor squinted, and his face twisted with malice. There will always be someone better than you out there. Zhuo Fan, you are toxic. Seize him. With a bang, a red flash shot for Zhuo Fan, followed by a childish voice. Old coot, don't forget about the 6th grade ingredient. Chapter 404, Father and Son Fight. Chapter 404, Father and Son Fight. Whoosh! A tiny fist came out of nowhere. With enough power to crush mountains, Zhuo Fan threw a fist of his own. The bang rattled the ears of the guests. Zhuo Fan was forced back 100 meters before steadying following the deep scar he made on the ground. He found that in his original place was a pint-sized smug figure. Everyone cried out. Where did he come from? How did he have the power to push back a monster like Zhuo Fan? The Chuanrong delegation was shaking. They gulped at the rosy-cheeked child. For all that's holy, is your land a freaking monster pen? It was bad enough that Zhuo Fan was a freak of nature. Now you have someone even younger? This doesn't make any sense. Chuanrong grumbled inside. Tianyu has way too many talents. As for the 7 houses, Zhuge Changfeng and the others knew of the freak raised in the imperial family's backyard. He was the most savage of the divine dragons, invincible scamp Gu Santong. That old coot has been ready to take the little freak out from the very start. Zhuge Changfeng and Lung Wucheng's eyes flashed. Humph! That's right, I'm strong, Gu Santong stuck out his chest, tooted his horn, and froze the guard, said the emperor would give the signal to attack. But he didn't even think the target would turn out to be his godfather. He hesitated. His face changing constantly, Zhuo Fan grinned, having seen this coming. The emperor was frowning at the odd spectacle. What's going on with the little freak? Why did he stop? Gu Santong mumbled awkwardly. Zhuo Fan didn't let him finish. Flashing in his face with the red Qilin arm, Gu Santong blocked by instinct. Bam! Another shocking rumble spread, and the guests took to the air. The emperor was taken away by the guards. This was a battle between monsters. Sticking around any longer would pulverize one's bones. Gu Santong shot back 50 meters from the punch, raising everything in a kilometer's range. Nobody noticed Zhuo Fan taking advantage of the smoke and mirrors to send him a message. In a few moves, I'll fake defeat, and you should chase me. Gu Santong's eyes lit up, and he nodded out of the loop as he was. He nevertheless believed that Zhuo Fan would explain himself. So he straightened his back, flicked his hand, and launched Zhuo Fan into the air. Gu Santong jumped after him. The sky got littered with booms as the two traded blow for blow. Each clash ended with a pulse of power swiping the surroundings. They pulverized anything they touched, making sure no one even tried to get near. All they could do was crank their heads as the two darted to and fro, reducing the gaudy imperial palace to rubble. The audience sighed. The two were dazzling gems of equal rarity and power. Only they could unleash such a spectacle. Others would have long since dropped dead. The Chuanrong were dumbstruck. The Chuanrong were tough, some say. The Chuanrong had mettle, said others. But witnessing these 2 experts of Tianyu fight, they came to know the true meaning of indomitable by contrast. Chuanrong's guts were too damn mushy. Toba Lu Feng and Han Tianmao sighed. If all of Tianyu was like this, it was best to go back and stay in bed. What invasion were they thinking of? The emperor looked at the two receiving and dishing out blows with a bright stare. Zhuo Fan and Gu Santong looked the same, but Zhuo Fan only had a Qilin arm, the rest of his body falling short. Gu Santong, however, was bursting with power from every fiber in his being. It wasn't long before Zhuo Fan lost ground. Bam! Gu Santong's punch sent Zhuo Fan barreling into some lofty buildings he had used the Qilin arm to block. But Gu Santong's power went through it and into his chest, forcing him to spit up blood. God damn it! That pipsqueak doesn't know how to hold back. I told him, only a few blows, but he's still going strong. Zhuo Fan crawled out of the rubble, spatted some blood, and cursed with a heavy breath. Gu Santong was coming for another round. Ha 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 again. Take this. Again. Zhuo Fan squinted. not fond of taking any more of the kid's tough love. So he popped away with his right eye flashing golden. Gu Santong hit nothing but the ruins, kicking up dust. Where's Dad? Gu Santong roamed his innocent eyes around. Zhuo Fan blinked next to Yun Shuang, hugged her, and flew away, afraid that the rest of the people won't find it obvious that he lost. He shouted, "Blast it! I can't mess with that freak. Let's go." Gu Santong got it on the spot. That was Zhuo Fan's signal for Act 2, so he played along. "Stop him!" Russell. A dozen Radiant Stage experts barred Zhuo Fan's way, glaring at him with fury. If Gu Santong failed, they wouldn't have shown themselves. But since Gu Santong was still going strong in hot pursuit, they chose to earn some credit by buying time. Was it that easy, though, to hold back Zhuo Fan with a couple of shrimps? His right eye flashed golden again, and he teleported behind them as they turned around to chase. Blue wings spread out from Zhuo Fan's back. A single flap of them sent illusions at them. That's Sea Phantom Wing. Look out! One cried. Despite being too late, the blue image surrounded the experts. Their minds grew hazy, and they splat on the ground like pies. Zhuo Fan laughed and flapped his wings to gain more speed and flew away. Gu Santong stomped in fake anger. "Humph, useless rabble. You've ruined my 6th grade ingredients. Once I am done capturing him, I'll take my anger out on you." Gu Santong shot after Zhuo Fan, angry on the outside, but giddy in his little heart. "Dad, wait for me." The audience watched them go with a sigh, and end. It was Gu Santong who came out on top in that monster clash. But Gu Santong wouldn't get his paws on Zhuo Fan anytime soon, not with his guile. Humph. The Emperor turned to the ex-Grand Imperial Palace, his anger growing. He flicked his hand at the dazed Luo clan. Prosperity Compound's Luo clan has failed to uphold its character, colluding with the savage Zhuo Fan. Seize them. Understood. Dozens of guards, with plenty of Radiant Stage experts in between, moved at once. Cackles resounded as 4 black masses drifted from the Luo clan to meet the Imperial Guards. In but a dozen seconds, the guards lay on the ground in pieces. Radiant Stage experts included. Hi. Luo clan doesn't have Steward Zhuo now, but we, the heroic Demon Quartet, will take his place. Ask the boss before messing with his dogs. You guys don't cut it. The 4 black masses hovered around the Luo clan with their creepy laughter. The Emperor's face twitched. Luo Yinhai and the other side. The 4 pygmies were their elders. So wasn't their boss the Luo clan head? That saying about dogs didn't quite apply here, but everyone knew those pygmies weren't right in the head, so they just dropped it. Funnily enough, coming out in defense at the crucial time showed their loyalty creak. A metal screech announced the arrival of a black figure behind the Emperor. Its hoarse voice said, "You dare act obnoxious before the Emperor." Whoosh! A shadow shot for the 4 freaks like lightning. Chapter 405 for Demons vs. Shadow King. Chapter 405 for Demons vs. Shadow King. A groan came from the 4 black masses. What followed was cries of shock as a black chain came out and they returned to their original form. Impossible. We'd phased out completely. How could you hit us? Violent demon, cried. The other pygmies were shouting as well. They couldn't believe their prized unity tactic could crumble so easily. The figure behind the Emperor turned solid, taking the shape of a 9-foot-tall armored man, and grabbed the incoming rattling chain. He took a bold step forth with a sharp look in his eye. "You 4 little sh*****. You may have been from the Empire's 3 guardian sects once, but it doesn't give you the right to do whatever you want." The 4th pillar, Shadow Guard's captain, Shadow King from Hell. Zhuge Changfeng muttered. Duge was also shocked. They were both part of the 4 pillars, but had only heard rumors of their secretive colleague. Today they found out how dreadful he really was. The 4 scheming demons could make mincemeat out of a 6th layer of Radiant Stage expert. Even give a peak Radiant Stage expert a run for his money, yet they were now pushed back in one move. Such a rare strength was something only the likes of Zhuo Fan and Gu Santong could display of the 4 pillars. Zhuge Changfeng relied on his infallible mind. Dugajantian on his perfect war record, and Yun Xuanji on fate reading to take office. But Shadow King was the only one reaching the top with pure strength the imperial family had laid low for so long. It had even kept their experts a secret. And now it revealed a true monster of Tianyu, if not for the balance of power in and outside of court. The imperial family would have long since had Tianyu under its iron fist, becoming the greatest clan the likes of Regent Estate and the houses had never seen. Huangpu Tianyuan squinted. His brow sweaty, looking at the emperor. The Chuanrong delegation was groaning. Tianyu just kept on popping one super expert after another. It wasn't weak at all. Elder brother, I can't accept it. Let's go again. Sly Demon stomped. Glaring at the Shadow King, Violent Demon's eyes were savage, and he cursed. Let's do it. If we don't tear that bastard to pieces, we're not 4 scheming demons. They turned into 4 black masses again, and went for Shadow King. Shadow King snorted and turned himself into black smoke, as well the 5 black clouds got entangled, with one in the middle of the other 4, releasing bangs at every clash, but the center shadow kept letting out a rattling noise. The chain made its appearance again, striking the other 4 masses. Shadow King reformed, standing high and mighty over the blood-spewing 4 scheming demons. Elder brother, we can't do it. Let's bail. Wimp Demon wailed. Violent Demon didn't want to give up like this, but nodded in the end. He turned into black smoke and fled. Humph, the guy's too thick. We're out of here. Not to worry, young Master Luo. We're going to find Steward Zhua to help you. Wait, for scheming demons. Weren't you going to rip me to pieces? Why are you running scared? Shadow King mocked the fleeing, for the 4 black masses stopped and mocked. What an imbecile. We are the Luo clan's elders. We no longer have anything to do with the demon's scheming sect. As for our title, we can just do without it. It's not like you're going to take it, are ya? Vermin. Shadow King spat the 4 clouds, turned to the out-cold Imperial Guards, and tore a Radiant Stage expert apart. Then it spat at Shadow King. Rotten spade, you haven't heard the last of us. We'll let you go this time, but next time you'll be in pieces. The 4 scheming demons, now vanished for good. Shadow King was outraged, his knuckles popping. He couldn't chase or he'd leave the Emperor's side. Everyone saw the Shadow King beat the 4 demos back. But to still look good in front of the crowd, they killed some royal Radiant Stage expert as a way of putting on a tough front and bragged about it before scampering. Only that Radiant Stage expert had to suffer in the making of this scene. First his mind went on vacation from Zhua Fan's sea phantom wings. Then the 4 demons came to split him before vanishing away. The poor sod. If his soul would be drifting right now, he'd be cursing to high heavens. USH*TS are angry with the Shadow King. So why take it out on little old me, who told him to be so weak? With Zhua Fan lighting the fuse to blow out between the Luo clan and Imperial family, the latter came out on top. Besides its elders, the Luo clan's young master and Miss, along with others, had ended up in the Imperial family's hands. The Imperial Guards assembled. Having them surrounded, Luo Yunchang panicked, looking at the others. Luo Yinhai was still looking in Zhua Fan's direction, finding it more than a little bit queer, like he knew this day would come. So he calmed his jets and said, "Relax, it'll be fine." His calm inspired the others to do the same. Not even 20, yet the young master maintains a cool head in crucial moments. How could they lose theirs? The Emperor nodded inside. Luo clan's young clan head has grown into a fine man. Dugajantian looked on with pride. The godfather and son were on opposite sides, but he had taught Luo Yunhai. The youth's calm attitude was a homage to his godfather's teaching. Imperial father, prosperity compounds, Luo clan has rebelled. They must be executed to appease the people. Please carry out their sentences. With everything under control, many showed their true faces, like the second prince barking at the Luo clan that lit a fire under the chubby's ass. Imperial father, the cause of today's disturbance falls on the Luo clan's steward alone. The others are innocent. Imperial father, you mustn't take it out on the innocents. Yes, Imperial Father, it had nothing to do with the Luo clan's young master and miss. Your Majesty's heart knows no bounds. Please let them go. Yongning pleaded. The Emperor eyed the two, then said, Crown Prince, you are the heir to the throne. How would you handle it? Heir? Humph! Did you ever intend to give me anything? He was still holding a grudge for what had happened back at the feast, but the Crown Prince did not let it show, hiding it behind a genial smile. Imperial Father, in my humble opinion, Luo clan steward, Zhuo Fan had indeed lied and cheated, pushing everyone around. But the Regent of Prosperity could not control him. Letting the Luo clan take the fall for his misconduct would be ill-advised. The fatty and Yongning sent looks of gratitude. While the Emperor stared at him harder, getting his meaning, Crown Prince continued. However, Zhuo Fan's vile attitude is due to the Luo clan's inadequate discipline. They do carry some of the blame. To my eyes, it is best to hold the Luo clan until Zhuo Fan is captured before handing out the sentence to them both. Crown Prince was candid, filled with reason and logical deductions. But to the old foxes out there, they could read between the lines. Taking the Luo clan hostage to draw Zhuo Fan out, it was a disgusting and degrading plan hidden behind a cleverly articulated sophistry. He was the spitting image of a true imperial family member, a vile act done in the name of justice. But the proposal was in tune with the Emperor's thoughts. He let out a smile and nodded. We will do as my son said. Guards, take the Luo clan away and watch them closely. Zhuge Chongfeng laughed inside. He had seen through the Emperor's ploy already. The two had been in contact for so many years, and he could read a little into the Emperor's every action. The Emperor had planned today from the start, as did its ending. He only asked others to speak out to cover up his involvement. He was in fact putting words in the Crown Prince's mouth, while also ending the tripartite stalemate. Zhuo Fan's ruckus at the Imperial Palace was big and small. Small since it only cost one man's life, and big as it impacted all the houses. He guessed the Emperor was going to use the disruption of Tianyu as an excuse to cleanse the land. Your Majesty, I didn't know you were even more impatient than me. Zhuge Chongfeng laughed. Inside, the Emperor looked at him as if in response to his thoughts, showing a snicker. My dear Prime Minister, the game has only just begun. The Emperor toasted to the distant Zhuge Chongfeng, while the latter snorted and spilled his cup. Your Majesty, I will not lose. Chapter 406, Dividing Spoils. Chapter 406, Dividing Spoils. Your Majesty, could you leave the Luo clan for us to handle? Lung Wuchang approached with a bow. Huangpu Tianyuan looked at him astonished, not understanding what his scheming steward was after. It was so obvious that with the Luo clan in custody, Zhuo Fan would come back to rescue them if he escaped Gu Santong's chase. In other words, whoever had the Luo clan would face Zhuo Fan. What happened at today's feast was too fast and shrouded in mystery. But wasn't taking the Luo clan inviting trouble? As the estate lord, he had to go out there and rein Lung Wuchang in. But the cool and wise look Lung Wuchang struck had him hesitate. Choosing to believe his steward, the Emperor gave Lung Wuchang a hard look. Not fully grasping his intent, Sir Lung, why should I give Luo clan to the Regent estate? Mind giving me a reason? Ha ha ha. Your Majesty, Regent estate has been the head of houses for the past millennium, settling any disputes among them. Now that there's an 8th house, it still falls under Regent estate's responsibility. With Luo clan's heinous crimes, it demands for Regent estate to help your Majesty in capturing the traitor Zhuo Fan as a warning and example to the houses. Lung Wuchang was praising, but anyone with a brain could tell he was speaking terms with the Emperor. We get rid of Zhuo Fan, and you give us the houses. Only then we fight over the throne. It was an obvious shot at getting the Emperor to split the power, or you can just face the monster all by yourself. We won't give a hoot. Pa! Huangpu Tianyuan slapped his thigh, getting it as well. Facing Zhuo Fan was bummer, true, but using him to get the houses without the imperial family poking its nose in the process was a great play. Sir Lung's noggin sure works fast. That's our unwanted contriver. The emperor's eyes flashed, but his mouth curled. Since Regent Estate has this intention, all right. They're yours to handle as you wish. Be sure to work with Gu Santong and catch the traitor. The other houses must combine their efforts as well. Use the demon purging decree at the right moment in tandem with Marshal Dugu. We obey your majesty's decree. As they all bowed, only Hell Valley, Pilking Hall, and Marywood's looked happy for their boss, taking the lead again, Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Drifting Flowers edifices and Sword Marquis abode were filled with bitterness. Zhuo Fan was their ally who all of them had to attack, forced into a corner. Now that the Regent Estate got the kill order for Zhuo Fan, the 6 houses had to obey. Through this plan, it would fulfill its own agenda in swallowing the houses. Troubled times awaited these 3 allies the Emperor's cold. I swept them all. I have since lost the mood to celebrate. You are dismissed. With an ashen face, surrounded by guards and Shadow King, he left. Yongning wanted to plead for the Luo clan some more, but her father's stone-cold look scared her. What no one noticed was the faint evil twitch in his mouth, just as he turned. Congratulations, Your Majesty. It all went smoothly. I'd never dreamed that sly and conniving Zhuo Fan would be routed so easily. Shadow King bowed after some distance, sending this message to the Emperor. The Emperor laughed. But then a flicker of doubt came upon his brow. It has been easy, perhaps too easy, making me uneasy. Besides the matter with Yongning, I had many more tricks ready, but he took the first bait instead. It baffles me how a level-headed man like him fell so easily. Your Majesty must be overthinking things. In my opinion, it is not Yongning who irritated him, but what happened to Yun Shuang. Your Majesty, at the esoteric debate, he went berserk over a girl. I've heard that Miss Yun Shuang shares that girl's qualities. That makes it more likely that he flipped because of her. The Emperor nodded. I hope so, but this only leads to even more questions. Why did the second prince propose marriage with the Holy Maiden, inciting Zhuo Fan? It's too convenient. It's not my place to say, but the second prince is narrow-minded and petty. Zhuo Fan and Holy Maiden ruined his home, so he came up with this proposal just to spite him. He used Your Majesty's name to push him around. As any child, he was the first to turn to his father whenever he got the boot. The Emperor paused, then nodded. Ha ha ha, indeed. That's his style, all right, though he helped me instead. But I have to change this trait about him, lest he invites trouble. Your Majesty is wise. Shadow King bowed. The Emperor continued. Yet, out of my predictions, Regent Estate volunteered to take charge in fighting Zhuo Fan. I planned on letting those dogs bite at each other until they couldn't move. But stepping in was in fact an even better outcome. Your Majesty, this is even easier to understand. Lung Wucheng is no fool, and with Zhuo Fan becoming the center of this chaos, the public enemy #1, he felt something was off and didn't want to be passive. Doesn't he want what Your Majesty wants, to lead the 7 houses? It will be great for the Regent Estate's campaign to expand its power. Yes, Lung Wucheng was right in his assumption. But does he think I'll just let him? Humph! We'll just see whose campaign is faster, mine or his. The Emperor's eyes flashed, walking on with Shadow King. Meanwhile, Lung Wucheng and Huangpu Tianyuan took the Luo clan off the Imperial Guard's hands and left the Imperial Palace. Estate Lord, this chance comes with risks. We need to act quickly, or by the time the Imperial family roots out all the spies from court, he will turn on us. Lung Wucheng spoke. Gravely, Huangpu Tianyuan nodded. Sir Lung, you've done well. Although the Emperor plans to have both of us exhausted, if we don't take this chance, he will swallow us all sooner or later. Now is the time to act when the Imperial family is too busy. Yeah, since we're dealing with Zhuo Fan, we can't threaten the Imperial family either. This is the first time in the history of Tianyu that neither side has to watch for the other, but also the most dangerous. If we are late in uniting the houses, the Imperial family will march all over us. Lung Wucheng sighed. Life or death, winner or loser. It all rests on what we do in this period. Such a rare opportunity, fraught with destruction, must be taken with utmost caution. Sir Lung. Huangpu Tianyuan turned heavy. Did the meeting go smoothly? No worries. The kid has lost faith in the second generation, deciding to side with us. At the right moment, he will buy us time. Lung Wuchang nodded. Huangpu Tianyuan eased up, eyes flashing with savagery. Regent Estates' long-cherished wish would soon come to a head. Win or lose, this was it. Zhuge Changfeng had the Chuanrong delegation taken back to the garrison. But on their way there, he was plagued with worry. "Prime Minister, sir, what is it?" Tuoba Lufeng asked Zhuge Changfeng, took a long time to respond. "What happened today is because the geezer made it happen, forcing Zhuo Fan to flee. But what made the geezer act so soon? Did he prepare everything?" "Prime Minister, sir, don't overthink it. The more chaos there is, the better, making it easier for us to invade. Ha ha ha." Tuoba Lufeng grinned. Zhuge Changfeng nodded, but then his smile slipped, his heart seized, his brow furrowed. Why did the old coot choose this moment to act, when the Chuanrong delegation was present? Is it? Zhuge Changfeng shook his head. No, it can't be. I must be jumping to conclusions. No matter what, with the nation in chaos, everyone will move and everything will go according to plan. Old man, you want to use chaos for yourself. But did you think you're the only one with that idea? You won't get to rule these lands. Zhuge Changfeng laughed. Whoosh! 100 miles out of imperial capital, Zhuo Fan was hugging Yun Shuang's soft, exquisite, and perky body as he flashed across the blue sky. Yun Shuang huddled in his chest, restless and blushing. She was still out of it from Zhuo Fan's declaration of love for her, that he was now fighting the empire for this reason. For a naive girl, it was the most romantic thing in the world, her heart beating like crazy. Although Yun clan answered requests in a neutral way, it was their responsibility to help the people, while Zhuo Fan was a bad boy through and through. These two had absolutely nothing in common, yet for some odd reason, she felt her pure heart influenced by that repulsive and dashing bastard. She couldn't get him out of her mind. Whoosh! This time, in a flash of red, Gu Santong approached from behind. Chapter 407. Father and Son Aligned. Chapter 407. Father and Son Aligned. Oh no, Gu Santong is behind us. Yun Shuang cried at the incoming small red light, with her being the holy maiden and high priest Yun, Xuanji's granddaughter. She knew of Gu Santong. He was truly a savage to push even the likes of Zhuo Fan back. Now, watching him dart over, panic overwrote everything. Zhuo Fan only had a wide grin, slowing down and taking a dive for a glade. He put Yun Shuang down and waited for Gu Santong. Yun Shuang looked at him lost. Does he want to measure his fist with Gu Santong again? Gu Santong landed and ran into them, his savage display just moments ago had Yun Shuang shaking, thinking he was now aiming to smash them to bits, but Zhuo Fan's calm was infectious, easing her worries. This man is that confident in taking Gu Santong's power. Ah! Yun Shuang saw Gu Santong get closer and closed her eyes, not wishing to see Zhuo Fan pulverized, but the rumble never came. All she heard was giggling. Dad, I missed you. Gu Santong held Zhuo Fan's neck. Zhuo Fan patted his back with a quiet smile. Yun Shuang peeked once. Then her eyes bugged out. What is going on here? They're on opposite sides. They just threw fists at each other back there. Yet now they are kin? If they were so close, why did they do all that show of savagery? Yun Shuang was a pure lady, never able to understand Zhuo Fan's slick and devious nature at work behind the scenes. All she could do was stare in space at exemplary parenting at work. Zhuo Fan brought Gu Santong over with a smile. Shuanger, can you tell? He's my son. What? Yun Shuang wobbled, on the brink of collapse from shock. A great divine dragon, the best in Tianyu, invincible scamp Gu Santong, was his son. That was more than breaking news. That was capital. Even the emperor would be speechless, since they're related. Has the emperor lost it by sending the son after the father? The two can now team up and tear the imperial palace apart. Zhuo Fan shook his head at the dull Yun Shuang, reintroducing his son. In detail now she realized their relationship, but just now Yin Shuang frowned, Zhuo Fan grinned. I only went with the flow, enacting a little drama for everyone. But I didn't expect the Emperor to be on the same page with me. He wanted me to be the scapegoat in this chaos, and I wanted to bear the brunt, breaking the stalemate. What a coincidence! We both wanted it at the same time. Otherwise, Yongning's marriage proposal wouldn't happen at the same time as the second prince's. You mean it was all fake? Yun Shuang's heart thumped. Zhuo Fan explained. Yongning's marriage was an obvious taunt from the Emperor. Even if I accepted it, he'd come up with other ways to get a rise out of me and break all pretense. While the second prince's proposal was my idea to break pretenses in my own way. The stalemate would be blown up, with every faction out to get me, but in fact the best stage for each of them to get their share. Oh, I see. Yun Shuang bobbed her head, still phased out. Then what you did to me? And act as well, please don't mind it. It was only to let the others see that I had a perfectly good reason to flip out, or doubts will sprout, making the next phase harder. Zhuo Fan nodded. Yun Shuang darkened, her heart sinking. She was a pure and unaffected girl, always abiding by her ancestors' teachings, never knowing love, but had fallen to despair when it struck her hard in the form of Zhuo Fan. Now Zhuo Fan was telling her that everything was fake and her budding love shattered to pieces. Yun Shuang watched the two giggle away, and the bitterness only grew. You're so mean. While you were playing, I was serious. Biting her lip, Yin Shuang grew downcast. Dad, you're out to fight the imperial family, right? But my promise, after a brief moment of joy at the reunion. Gusantong's side. Zhuo Fan smiled, knowing his difficulty. No worries, young Sanzi, you're my son. I won't make it hard on you. You made that promise to the imperial family. I promise you, the imperial family will remain. Only the emperor won't. Yeah, as long as the clan lives, even if Tianyu changes colors, I'd still have kept my word. Ha ha ha, Dad, you're a genius. How come I never realized it? Gu Santong laughed, relieved of trouble. The vow was cooked up just at the end of his altercation with that immemorial sage. With no time to iron out the details, there were plenty of loopholes. Gu Santong was a child at heart and didn't look into it, while Zhuo Fan was a weasel, finding a solution in a jiffy. To hell with the promise, when I can just use words to keep it. He had done this so many times, it was practically second nature. Young Sanzi, you've endured a lot. Look how thin you are. They must be starving you. Zhuo Fan rubbed his head, taking out a 7th grade ingredient and offering it with love. Now that Dad's here, you're taken care of. Zhuo Fan had to fish out some good ingredients each time he met Gu Santong, to show the stark contrast in treatments. To drive the wedge deeper, of course, all to pull Gu Santong closer and closer, helping him deal with the imperial family without guilt. See, they're a bunch of meanies, not even giving you 3 meals a day. Come to Daddy. Son, I have a full-course meal for you. Help your good Dad beat the nasties. It's what they deserve. Everything had multiple perspectives, and under Zhuo Fan's careful egging and nudging, Gu Santong hated the imperial family and loved him more. If only the emperor had known about the two. He'd be giving Gu Santong meals, brunches, and snacks, all to foil Zhuo Fan's twisted heart and remove the danger. At the very least, you won't be helping me, but neither will you be tearing me a new one. With Gu Santong being a kid, whoever was better to him got closer. Gu Santong had been eating ingredients for 3 centuries, but they were all 1st and 2nd grade. And through Zhuo Fan's smooth talk, he felt that the imperial family was truly mean to him. As for the vow, Zhuo Fan had an easy time twisting it from defending the imperial family to making sure one of them barely survived, thus crushing their foundation. But it wasn't something a puppet would ever fuss about. Gu Santong jumped in joy, stuffing the deli in his mouth. Dad, I'll help you. You only have to leave 1 clansman alive and done. Of course. Zhuo Fan's twisted grin resurfaced. Gu Santong threw all those chains tying him to the imperial family that the vow had twisted around him, throwing his lot with Zhuo Fan instead. Yin Shuang sighed. With these monsters together, who in Tianyu can stand up to them? Grandfather's wish is almost achieved. Steward Zhuo can really change fate. Creepy wails came as 4 black clouds flew over. Steward Zhuo, we're here. The 4 black clouds turned into the 4 scheming demons. Violent Demon stuck out his chest. Steward Joie, per your orders, we fixed the fight and used young miss and young master. Hi. Can you avoid using the word used? It's all tactics. Joie Fan's face twitched, then mocked. You didn't fix it, you did lose. Look, the blood on you hasn't even dried yet. Violent Demon looked down, then at his brothers and smacked them each once. Why the hell didn't you guys tell me? I'd have washed in the creek we passed earlier. Boss, didn't you miss it too? The 3 grumbled back. Violent Demon was outraged, smacking them again. If I noticed it, what use do I have of you? The trio were even more depressed. Joie Fan shook his head. A loss is a loss. It must have been that black captain who did it. He is similar to you, but stronger. Losing is only natural. Steward Joie, we could have won, but... Violent Demon wanted to preach on, but Joie Fan waved. It's fine. A true loss is better than a fake one for those guys to swallow. You take Schwanger to Wingate City. Young Sanzi, let's go. Where are you going? Can't I come? Yun Shuang asked, grinning. Joie Fan shook his head. No, I'm going to get back some hostages. Chapter 408, Terms. Chapter 408, Terms. On a bleak and lonely mountain laid a hidden courtyard. Lang Wucheng sat under a graceful pavilion in the backyard, free to sip at his wine in relaxation. Whoosh! A black figure popped out of the blue, facing the old frenemy. Joie Fan cupped his hands. Ha, sorry, hounded by Gu Santong. Only now did I manage to shake him off. Ha, Gu Santong is all brawn, but it's not easy getting away from him. I reckon Steward Joie is the only one in Tianyu who can do it. I'm impressed. Lang Wucheng saluted back. Joie Fan looked at the scene of paradise around him and sighed, such as Regent Estate. You are even hiding such a refined place on a lone mountain only 10 miles from the imperial capital no one knows about. A true rarity. Of course, with the imperial capital saturated in conflicts and people from all walks of life, intelligence is still of foremost importance. The Regent Estate wants the world, and to do that it has built a secret network. And Steward Joie can relax. Not even the Emperor's spies can reach us here. We can talk at leisure. Joie Fan nodded. Getting down to business, Sir Lung. Thank you for your assistance. I presume you have my clan in custody. Where, may I ask, are they now? Joie Fan faked curiosity by looking around. How come I don't see them? Lun Wucheng's eyes flashed. Steward Joie, you came to me for help to get the Luo clan in Regent Estate's hands by all means, and I've done it. That won't make me your enemy, will it? Of course not. Joie Fan said I told you. Help me in this, and you'll be on my side. But wasn't it something more afterwards? Lang Wucheng smiled. I help you with this, but I am still Regent Estate's steward, working out in Regent Estate's best interests. So even if you don't take me for an enemy, Steward Joie, I can't help but do it to you. Raising an eyebrow, Joie Fan nodded. Quite right. Then, Sir Lung, are you going to do it like the imperial family and use the Luo clan as a hostage to deal with me? Would I? I know Steward Joie's style all too well. The lesson at the esoteric debate was more than enough for me. Thank you. With our strength, being testy with someone of Steward Joie's caliber would be ill-advised. It would only make the imperial family happy watching both of us suffer, doing all the work for them. How could I do something so monumentally idiotic? Then Joie Fan said bargain. Lang Wucheng was blunt. Steward Joie wanted me to have the Luo clan, thinking it would be far easier to rescue them from the Regent Estate than from the imperial family. The reality is indeed so. We would have never touched such a hot commodity in our lives. Even more, so keeping them perfectly safe to present them to Steward Joie. But giving them just like that is bad for business. I ask that Steward Joie give us something in return. Joie Fan searched himself puzzled, then spun around. Take your pick. Be it integrity, conscience, or even chastity, you can take anything. Did you even have them to begin with? Rolling his eyes, Lung Wuchang chuckled. Zhuofan's brow rose in rebuttal. Who says I don't? I can vouch for my chastity that I have kept safe for dozens of years. Lung Wuchang turned serious. Steward Zhuo, please don't crack jokes. You only need to give us what we want and Luo clan will be safely returned. If you don't, I guess we're at an impasse. Your people can be anywhere by now too. And we will just have to fight one another, waiting for the imperial family to swoop in, ending with both of us dying. Do I even have something so important on me? Zhuo Fan frowned. He got it from Lung Wuchang that this item was crucial to them, willing to get it even if it meant falling in a trap. It was either get it or die trying, but what could he have that was of such value? Lung Wuchang stared as he emphasized each word. Bodhi root! What? Zhuo Fan cried. Lung Wuchang said. Have you forgotten already? The 8th grade ingredient you swiped from Drifting Flowers edifices 8 years ago. Please give it to me, and I will release them. Unfortunately, I don't have it. Will you take another 8th grade ingredient instead? Zhuo Fan blinked and probed, shaking his head. Lung Wuchang stressed. We need the Bodhi root. We do not care for 9th or even 10th grade ingredients. Zhuo Fan saw his stance unmoving and felt it odd. What is it about this Bodhi root that makes it so unique that it can't be replaced with another 8th grade ingredient? Of course it can't. Lung Wuchang sighed. There's no point in keeping this from you now that all the houses are in a final struggle. Why were we so fixed on Drifting Flowers edifices? Because it was a house of women, for one, and mostly because their heirloom was Bodhi root. Otherwise, we would have just started our expansion with other houses first, rather than insist on dealing with some broads and earn ourselves the bad name of picking on defenseless women. Zhuo Fan found him honest and nodded. Sir Lung, I shall be frank as well. I can give you anything but the Bodhi root. It isn't with me. When I took that bauble, it was only to divert Regent Estate's attention from Drifting Flowers edifices, when in fact the item was returned right after. How else could we become allies? Would you become an ally with someone who stole from you? Lung Wuchang nodded. I see. I had considered this as well. Steward Zhuo's answer today has confirmed my guess. Be that as it may, I still need it from you, Steward Zhuo. What are you asking me for? Go take it out of Drifting Flowers edifices. Zhuo Fan opened his eyes wide. Lung Wuchang mocked. We've been watching them for years, but they treasure the Bodhi root more than their lives. Even if we swallow Drifting Flowers edifices, we still won't find it. But Steward Zhuo, you as their ally can. You want me to swindle them? Zhuo Fan snorted. You just called them my allies. Doing such a thing will ruin the Luo clan's name. Cast it out by our allies, standing alone and helplessly surrounded by you. Sir Lung, you never do things half-measure. Ha ha ha, it's not my intention at all. All I want is the Bodhi root. Lung Wuchang spoke happily. This is my condition. All that's left is to see if you will fulfill it. Your men are in our hands, so you can come any time for the exchange. It ought to be easier than saving them from the imperial family's hands. Take your time to think over carefully. I'll be leaving now. Come find me when you have it. Lung Wuchang flicked his sleeve and left Zhuo Fan clench his fists and was gone as well. The silence returned to the desolate mountain. Whoosh! Zhuo Fan reappeared a mile away among the trees. Gu Santong was bored to death waiting on a branch and perked up at his arrival. Dad, you're back. Didn't you say you'll bring those guys too? Why are you alone? God damn it, that old fox has demands. Cursing, Zhuo Fan said. Young Sanzi, you've met young miss and everyone. Can't your nose point the way? Gu Santong wiggled his button nose and breathed in. He closed his eyes in focus. He shook his head in the end. Dad, there's no sign of them in 1,000 miles. The old fox sure is cautious. He thought I'd steal the hostages, so he had them moved. He never intended to show them to me. Zhuo Fan spat, his mind spinning. After a deep breath, he came to a decision. I'll just have to go to Drifting Flowers edifices and take the item. But I won't soon forget this. Snorting, Zhuofan flew away. Gu Santong flashed red on his tail. Two monsters were zeroing in on Drifting Flowers edifices at top speed to take away their heirloom. The Bodhi root Drifting Flowers edifices, a clique of women, was in for some hard times. Chapter 409, True Illusion. Chapter 409, True Illusion. Whoosh! The bright moon and stars were shining down on two shadows flitting left and right. When the moonlight finally graced their features, it was apparent enough who they were. The father and son duo flew at top speed for 2 months to arrive at Drifting Flower City, sent down memory lane. Zhuofan kept on sighing. Funny how the first time he had come was, as a thief, no different from this time as well. And for the same item too, if Yin Xuanji hadn't told him he was outside fate, he'd think heaven was toying with him. Dad, isn't it just an 8th grade ingredient? We can just punch our way in as we search around. Why wait for the night to sneak around? It's bad for my glorified image. Gu? Santong grumbled. Zhuofan laughed. Young Sanzi, you don't understand. If it were that easy, Regent Estate would have already done it. Drifting Flowers, edifices women are tough. You'll never get anything out of them in a million years unless they give it to you. Besides, I don't want to burn bridges with them. Zhuofan sighed, looking at the tall building, lost in his memories, rolling his eyes. Gu Santong whispered, "How are you supposed to do that when you're forcing them to tell you where's their treasury? You ignorant lad, have you forgotten your dad's latest trick? Let me refresh your memory." Zhuofan unfolded the sea phantom wings in the sky, their blue glow shining brighter in the moonlight. The disciples, patrolling the Drifting Flowers edifices, looked above in shock. Zhuofan then flapped, and blue rays sprinkled down on the disciples, making them fall unconscious. Zhuofan flew around the Drifting Flowers edifices, getting every disciple lost in the mesmerizing blue illusion paw. The guards outside a door collapsed, and grandmother, who was in cultivation, frowned. "Xiaoyu, what's wrong?" What she saw was a hazy blue glow outside the window. Grandmother opened the door on high alert. A buzz entered her ears, and she shuddered. She stepped out and looked around. It was quiet with the exception of the missing Xiaoyu at the door. Where did the child run off to? Grandmother wondered a cry, and some footsteps approached. Grandmother, someone stole the Bodhi root. What? Grandmother froze, watching Iris Overseer rushing with a group of disciples. Tell me quickly. No one knows where Bodhi root is hidden. How can someone steal it? Grandmother, it's true. The person wore a black robe, holding in his hand the Bodhi root. I was just sending disciples to chase. Iris Overseer panted. Grandmother continued, "Calm down. Have you seen it clearly? Are you sure it was the Bodhi root? Or is it just some ploy to dupe us with a fake, then steal it? Grandmother, it's real. I saw it with my own eyes. I also checked its hiding place, and it was open." Iris Overseer was panicking. Grandmother nodded. "Let's check it out." They all surrounded her to protect as she ran, yet there was only a single person behind her. And in his eyes, Grandmother was running by herself, with no disciples, and Iris Overseer around at the person's feet. However, was Xiaoyu unconscious? Dad, is that woman sleepwalking? Why is she monologuing? Can't she see us? Gu Santong waved his hand in front of Grandmother, with 3 golden halos flashing in his right eye. Zhuofan snickered. "This is your dad's divine eye of the void's 3rd stage mirage world. She is trapped in my illusion without her knowledge. Through the illusion, she will lead us to the Bodhi root. We will just take the ingredient, leave her unconscious, and no one will be the wiser. They'll blame the Regent Estate, of course, and we would be free of charge, still allies, hee. Dad, you're so devious. Though that eye of yours is awesome. We haven't seen each other for so long, and it's already on the 3rd stage. Gu Santong giggled as he made faces in front of Grandmother. Zhuofan smiled for dumping the trouble on another, and added, "Young Sanzi, this hag is more than what meets the eye. She walks behind everyone else, watching everybody's footsteps and where they're going, to avoid having some stranger among them wishing to find out their secret. But this illusion is built from her mind. containing every person's conduct and gait. How could there be any gaps? No matter how careful, she won't find anything. Gu Santong nodded next to him. These people are so cautious. If it were me, I wouldn't be thinking so much about it. That is precisely why you fell for that promise 300 years ago. These people are not your match, but each shrewder and wiser than your entire lifetime. Zhuo Fan spoke at liberty. Gu Santong fell silent. He had two reliable fists there. Even if he wasn't subtle, who'd still mess with him? Grandmother led the two to a clear pond. She made a sign, and with a shout, she pointed at the pond. The water stirred, shirking to the side and revealing a cave. The 10-meter-tall copper gates rumbled open with another special chant. Zhuo Fan cried, not in a million years would he figure out that the Bodhi root was hidden here. No one would ever think to search here. The trio walked deeper into the cave, with Grandmother disarming any trap, array, or mechanism put in place. They arrived at a stand in the middle of a small room, holding a box. Opening it revealed the Bodhi root. Zhuo Fan would never forget the sweet fragrance and green glow. Got it! Zhuo Fan and Gu Santong giggled, but Grandmother only saw an open case and shuddered back in fright. It's gone. Dad, knock her out. Gu Santong nabbed the box. Grandmother still didn't notice. Zhuo Fan sighed and nodded. Sorry, Grandmother. Before he could, Grandmother wept. Ching, I'm sorry. You told me to look after Drifting Flowers edifices before leaving, but I couldn't protect our precious heirloom. Rumble. Zhuo Fan's palm stopped in doubt. Chu Ching isn't in seclusion? She left? Grandmother, don't feel sad. Ching will be gone for a short while. She'll be back soon. The Iris Overseer's illusion spoke. Grandmother shook her head, lamenting she won't come back. To save that Shui girl, she made a deal with Mystical Heaven sect leader. I know for certain she will not come back, and I couldn't even fulfill her final wish. His brow trembling. Zhuo Fan's heart tensed now that he thought about it. The anchoring soul bead used to save Ninger couldn't have come from Drifting Flowers edifices. A mere house. Chu Ching had made a pact with the Mystical Heaven sect to get it the same way he made a deal with demon scheming sect. But why did she do it? Saving Ninger had nothing to do with her. Why sacrifice herself? Zhuo Fan felt pain in his heart. His hand trembled, but he couldn't bear to strike dead. What is it? I'll do it if you can't. Gu Santong saw him just standing there and thought of helping Pa. Zhuo Fan grabbed Gu Santong's hand, who was now looking at him oddly. Whoosh. His right eye's halos vanished, and the mirage world fell apart. Grandmother woke up from the illusion and turned to the two in shock. Seeing the Bodhi root in his hand, she was stunned. Zhuo Fan were allies. Why? Grandmother, chaos is about to spread across the lands. Take everyone in Drifting Flowers edifices to the Luo clan. I promise to protect you. As for Bodhi root, I'll be taking it. He pulled Gu Santong, and with a flash of a golden halo, they were gone. Only a distraught grandmother was left behind. Gu Santong was even more perplexed. Dad, why did you show yourself? I didn't want to lie. Zhuo Fan sighed, flying with Gu Santong further away. Chapter 410, Regent Estates Intent. Chapter 410, Regent Estates Intent. Whoosh! Deep in the woods of a mountain, a lofty and stylish manor rested. A man with a head full of white hair blowing in the wind and full of savage power flashed the two profound heaven experts, standing guard jerked and bowed. Pardon us, but are you Steward Zhuo? Zhuo Fan only looked at the manor. You guys sure have plenty of hideouts, even out here. Take me to Lung Wuchang. A month ago, when he had just obtained the Bodhi root, Zhuo Fan contacted Lung Wuchang through a jade slip for the exchange. The old man had seen it coming and told him to come here. This place was close to Drifting Flower City, merely 100 miles from it. He only needed 2 hours to reach it, but Lung Wuchang was slower. Getting here only today, Sir Lung is waiting. Please follow me, Steward Zhuo. A profound heaven expert was an elder in any clan enjoying respect and awe. Only with Zhuo Fan, it was the other way around, with them bowing and making way. Zhuo Fan walked behind him, passing many pavilions, and after twists and turns, they arrived at a garden where Lung Wuchang was waiting. Lung Wuchang greeted the cold Zhuo Fan. Ha ha ha. As expected of Steward Zhuo, you got drifting flowers, edifices, treasure, so fast. Impressive. Humph. Tone down on the theatrics. You already knew I'd get it and got ready after I left. It took me 2 months to reach Drifting Flower City from the imperial capital, while you took a month? Zhuo Fan flicked in disdain. Lung Wuchang nodded. Ha ha ha, yes, it's as you say. I rushed here as fast as I could after you left because I believed Steward Zhuo is a professional, that a mere Bodhi root couldn't escape your grasp. It would be a sin to delay the exchange, not with Steward Zhuo wrought with worry over the Luo clan's safety. Enough, I said. I can see you're impatient to get the Bodhi root as well. Zhuo Fan's hand flashed, tossing a box around. I just don't get why the Regent estate is so hung up over this thing. Doesn't it only do wonders for your complexion? Lung Wuchang's eyes never left the box, flashing with greed. Steward Zhuo, you don't need to concern yourself with that. Just hand it over, and I will deliver the Luo clan down to the last man. This way, our deal will be finished. That is all you should be interested in. Zhuo Fan gave him a deep look and then grinned. Right, it's just a deal. It has nothing to do with me, why you need it anyway. Pa! The box opened and a green root with a sweet fragrance was revealed. Its throbbing vitality overwhelmed Lung Wuchang, his chest moving with excitement. Where are they? Zhuo Fan asked, licking his lips. Lung Wuchang took a deep breath to calm down. Steward Zhuo, we all know of your skills. If I hand them over, you'll just take this item with you, and I'll be powerless to stop you. Pa! Zhuo Fan closed the lid and spoke with impatience. Sir Lung, what is it that you want? Are you going to take this and not return my people? Oh, no, no, no. No, you've got it all wrong. I only mean that I can't give them to you here. Because Steward Zhuo is too dangerous, changing moods faster than the wind. I have to come prepared. Lung Wuchang smiled. To be quite frank, I already had them sent back to Wingaze City. All you have to do is hand that over, and I will have Ascending Jade tell them to release them. Zhuo Fan's brow twitched slightly, knocking on the table in thought. If I just give it, you won't release *T. How could I not? With Sir's magnificent display on Beast King Mountain, I've since lost all intention of inciting your ire. Compared to your current treacherous ploy, Steward Zhuo, who measures every step before taking it, I am more afraid of the Steward Zhuo hell-bent on revenge. It would bring no good to anyone. Lung Wuchang waved his hand in a rush, fear streaking his eyes, recalling Zhuo Fan's psychotic breakdown back on Beast King Mountain. Zhuo Fan sighed in the end and handed the box over. I hope, for your sake, that Sir Lung holds up his end of the deal. Holding the box with a trembling hand, feeling the oozing vitality, Lung Wuchang nodded and sent a jade. Steward Zhuo, I'm a man of my word. With a gesture, the jade slip flew away. Zhuo Fan nodded and stood up. With the deal complete, I shall be going. I need to see if the young miss and the others are safe. If any harm has come to them, humph. Sir Lung, we'll be seeing each other again in Caged Dragon City. Zhuo Fan vanished. Lung Wuchang was left alone with a heavy look. He did fulfill his end of the deal and didn't even so much as leave a scratch on the Luo clan. But Zhuo Fan's cold smile left him shuddering. Not even an honest-to-God man could keep a straight face on meeting Zhuo Fan. He is a savage like the rumors describe him. Such power, such dignity, it's not something everyone has. Lung Wuchang sighed. A rough voice broke him out of his thoughts. Sir Lung, do you have it? Huangpu Tianyuan walked over. Lung Wuchang made a deep bow, presenting the box. Congratulations, estate lord, we have it. Huangpu Tianyuan opened the box and shuddered in glee. Ha ha ha. At long last I can train the earth, ranked martial art, 9 dragons, diamond body. Indeed, estate lord, we are weaker than the imperial family, but stronger than Luo clan. Yet we can't compare when it comes to the quality of their experts. The imperial family has Gu Santong, while the Luo clan has Zhuo Fan, freaks of nature capable of fighting thousands. To take these lands for ourselves, we need to defeat those monsters. With the estate lord training in 9 dragons diamond body, your power will double. Heaven is smiling on the regent estate. Lung Wucheng praised Huangpu Tianyuan was pleased, but then sighed. A shame that 9 dragons diamond body needs 9 dragon souls to reach its peak, especially the last one to become ethereal. But that dragon soul is with Zhuo Fan a true shame. Sir Lung, why didn't you set the dragon soul as a condition of the deal as well? Estate lord, please restrain your greed. You know his temper just as well. If we push him too much and he flips, we are not prepared to take him, and we will suffer greatly from it. Moreover, the dragon vein soul is a savage being. Even when the eldest young master's fate arrived, he could only subdue one. With the estate lord being able to use 8 souls to train yourself, the pain will be excruciating. Only through the use of Bodhi Root's vitality will it be an assured success. Lung Wucheng advised. Sir has yet to even gain the diamond body and wouldn't be able to support so many dragon souls. What is the point of taking back the 9th soul? We should wait for Sir to train in it and then look for Zhuo Fan. Huangpu Tianyuan still believed that he would never train it to peak because of one missing dragon soul. Though he understood Lung Wucheng's logic as haste made waste in many cases, it would be better to use the other 8 first. As for the 9th dragon soul, humph, Zhuo Fan, you just wait. I will be coming for that last one. Huangpu Tianyuan snorted inside. Filled with battle spirit, none of them noticed a red flash beneath their feet, 20 miles away. Zhuo Fan leaned on a tree, waiting for the red flash to enter his body. His blood infant, when he left, he had blood infant slip underground. Tuning in on their designs for the Bodhi root, he had never guessed that he'd find out so fast 9 dragons diamond body. Zhuo Fan grinned. So using the 9 dragon souls to train, that old fox Huangpu Tianyuan can step into the ethereal stage from peak profound, heaven stage. That'll be dangerous. How convenient that I have 1 dragon soul from the set, or I'd never have let go of the Bodhi root. They won't come knocking anytime soon. Not before finishing their training, that is, he. Snickering, Zhuo Fan glanced next to him. Young Sanzi, let's go to All Beast Mountain Range. On an ingredient hunt. Gu Santong lit up with a vague smile. Zhuo Fan only shook his head. Chapter 411, 9th Level Spiritual Beast. Chapter 411, 9th Level Spiritual Beast. Roar. In the serene forest, a cry sent the birds scrambling away. A flaming-winged beast with huge eyes darted out of the forest in panic and fear. It was shaking from head to toe, frantic and flapping its wings, even through the dozens of trees to get out. Stop right there, I said. Now, before you make it worse. A childish voice came from behind, yet oddly overbearing, sweating all over. The spiritual beast wheezed, its wings going faster. It believed the angelic voice was that of a reaper coming to drag him back to hell. Stop! Are you touched in the head? That's asking for me to sit still as you cut me up. Whoosh! A red flash came from behind, smacking him so hard he folded. Its eyes turned white as it hit the ground in a 100-meter-wide crater. As the dust settled, the spiritual beasts nearby scattered in panic. Only the large beast remained, out cold and battered. As a small figure landed on top, Gu Santong's only reaction to the pitiful, back-broken spiritual beast was, "You just don't know when to quit. I told you to stop, but no. You just had to make me do it. How dumb. I don't want your life." Gu Santong walked onto its back, grabbed the wings, and tore them off. Blood gushed like a waterfall. But the spiritual beast only jerked, still out cold, which was probably for the best. Seeing so much blood bubbling out of it would have left it crying, "Sweet Jesus Christ, you don't want my life, but my wings." How is a flying spiritual beast without its wings any different from a cripple? And you still ask me to stop? Who the hell makes those kinds of demands like it's the order of the day? What could it do? The strong worked in savage and cruel ways with the wings in his ring. Gu Santong counted on his fingers, including this fourth level spiritual beast's wings. That should add up to 80. I wonder how's Dad doing? Gu Santong jumped up in the air and was gone. Only the crippled spiritual beast was left. Its eyes rolled up in their sockets and blood flowing down its back like a river. It wasn't long for this world, that's for sure. Meanwhile, in a clearing, 3 fifth-level spiritual beasts were shivering from fear. Zhuo Fan strolled towards them, his eyes cold and a faint azure flame flickering on his forehead, sure they'd fear Zhuo Fan just the same, even without that gimmick, but not enough to lose even their fight or flight instinct. You 3, turn around. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed the spiritual beasts, looked at each other through tears, and turned. How could a man have such power to rob them of the will to even flee? The air around him was obviously from a big boss of theirs. Zhuo Fan snickered. Touching the azure flame, without this baby here, he'd be out there wasting time chasing these beasts to and fro. Now he could even order them to die, and they'd line up on the precipice, plunging to their doom like second nature, going behind one spiritual beast. Zhuo Fan's mouth twisted in a smile. Touching its wings, the victim trembled and sweated. What came next was a tearing sound, a pain so excruciating it wailed in tears, all while the blood on its back gushed freely. Now beat it. Zhuo Fan snapped. The spiritual beast dragged its pitiful and gimp body in remorse deeper into the woods, leaving a thick trail of blood. As for the other 2 spiritual beasts, seeing their buddy's woeful fate, they were shivering harder, pleading Zhuo Fan with their big puppy eyes. They were majestic 5th-level spiritual beasts, pack leaders in the All-Beast Mountain Range, but now their wings were plucked off by a mere human. Oh, the humanity! What could they do? This guy had that wavy blue thing making them docile as puppies rip. With another 2 ripping sounds, the mournful cries of the spiritual beasts echoed out into the blue sky, with Zhuo Fan behind them, waving them off. The spiritual beasts went on the same road as their brother, weeping and deflated in their slow steps into the forest. Only the horrifying trail of blood was testament to the gruesome torture. Zhuo Fan put the wings away. He was one step closer to his goal on his way to resume the harvest. A red flash came in the form of Gu Santong. Dad, I got around 80 pairs. What about you? Gu Santong stuck out his flushed face. Zhuo Fan smiled, his brows going up and down. Around the same, 235. So many. Gu Santong sulked. Dad, you're so mean. I have to chase those spiritual beasts each time while you just use that azure flame to have them sit still. How am I supposed to win like this? Gu Santong pouted and stomped. This game has been going on for 3 months now. What he thought to be a search for herbs turned into plucking wings, and in him losing all interest to a fan made a challenge, saying he'd give him 10 8th-grade ingredients if he gathered 1,000 pairs of wings first. That had him going around the mountains in excitement, but when the race started, he found out that Zhuo Fan had a secret weapon, making the entire mountain range's spiritual beasts listen to his orders. In the first 2 weeks alone, Zhuo Fan had already overtaken him. His hopes of winning were dashed. He had the strength, but Zhuo Fan had the azure flame which could line up the beasts for the culling. Zhuo Fan saw through him and smiled. Young Sanzi, how about this? I still need to get 1,000, but you win if you can get 300 before me. Really? Gu Santong's eyes sparkled. Better keep your word. I'm going. But then he came right back in the next moment, asking coyly, Dad, what do you need all these wings for? Did you get bored of yours and want to switch them up every day? You're like the maids in the imperial palace. They switch jewelry just like you. I am no woman to have that vice. Zhuo Fan's face twitched. Now go to your thing. You'll find out in the evening. All right. Gu Santong left shrugging. He only cared about the prize anyway. He had no curiosity to know what Zhuo Fan's use of the wings was who. But before he could give more chase, a hurricane blew over them. Sand and rocks blew away as a black cloud loomed over all Beast Mountain Range. The next moment, a 300-meter-long, Three-headed black bird swooped in its powerful wings, sending sharp winds. Able to crush even stone, Zhuo Fan cried. Ninth level spiritual beast, three-headed crow! What's it doing here? This is only the 6th level spiritual beast's domain. Dad, can we use its wings? Why don't we pull them off? Gu Santong proposed, Zhuo Fan disposed. Young Sanzi, behave. This spiritual beast is powerful enough to go on a rampage in the sacred domain. Us two are no match for it. Zhuo Fan's heart shook, and he gulped. He never dreamed that mortal domain could have such a spiritual beast. He knew all Beast Mountain range went deeper still, having areas the 6th level spiritual beasts didn't dare cross, that those areas were holding a terrible being, not even he thought of exploring it. All Beast Mountain range was a bottomless treasure vault, which he wouldn't dare open before he had the power to do so, but the guardian of that treasury had caught him with his pants down. Dad, can't your azure flame do the trick? Gu Santong reminded him. Zhuo Fan recovered at last. How the hell did I forget? And deployed his trick the instant that flame came out into the open. The three-headed crow stopped, with all its heads fixated on him. There you are! Each head had an azure flame. Zhuo Fan was rendered speechless. Chapter 412, All Beast Mountain Lord. Chapter 412, All Beast Mountain Lord. Oh my God, that thing has the azure flame too. 3 of them on top of it. Zhuo Fan looked like he was choking on a fly. He had a monopoly on the azure flame so far, with all beasts shuddering at his feet. Then this 9th level spiritual beast came along bearing the same majestic power, thus making him immune to his flame in the face of such might. He was nothing but a foot soldier who, flapping those heaven-reaching wings, it drew closer to the pair, casting a huge shadow over them, gulping. Zhuo Fan was sweating now. Was it you who has been hunting the flying spiritual beasts? Three-headed crow's eyes were on him, but only the middle head spoke. Zhuo Fan's forehead was sweating buckets. The 9th level spiritual beast has such intelligence that it can speak. This is going to be hard. Such a mind was not like those brutish spiritual beasts. It was far harder to outsmart and escape. Gu Santong cut him off before Zhuo Fan could say anything, shouting proudly, "That's us. What about it?" "Oh, no, no, no. Don't listen to a little child's nonsense. We're not killing anybody," he covering the kid's mouth. Zhuo Fan wiped his brow with a smile. His heart was sinking further and further for the three-headed crow to ask about the hunting. He must have come to settle the score, no doubt. His best option was to drag it out, lie and cheat while waiting for the perfect moment to flee for their lives. Who in their right mind would ever admit? Young Sanzi is still so innocent. Compared to those foxes in Tianyu, he was as crude as the beasts in the All-Beast Mountain range. The three-headed crow's heads exchanged looks and nodded. It found the azure flame on Zhuo Fan familiar. "Yes, it's you all right. Come, my master wants to see you." Master. A 9th level spiritual beast has a master. What kind of a monster does that make him? Zhuo Fan licked his dry lips, his mind out of commission. The tiny Tianyu Empire in the plain mortal domain was hiding such a secluded monster. It has to be seclusion, or his lordly self wouldn't send a three-headed crow on errands otherwise. Who could beat that? More importantly, where does he come from? Zhuo Fan sank in thought, and his eyes flashed. He looked at the azure flames on the three-headed crow and nodded in understanding. "Humph! You think this young master will see him just because you say so? Who do you take me for?" Gu Santong knew he was no match, but his pride wouldn't allow any retreat. Like his heart was telling him that lowering his head in fear before the 9th level spiritual beast was a disgrace. He was like a nobleman, always holding his little head high. The three-headed crow was curious instead of angry at Gu Santong's bratty temper, and in fact lowered its head in respect. "Forgive me, young master. As the master ordered, I have to take you with me, even if by force. Do you see the azure flame on my head? Master bestowed it to me, so I could contend with you and the gentleman. Please don't force me. I do not want to harm you. I'd like to see you try. Ever since I remember, I've only relied on my trusted fists. No one has overcome them ever. I'm not afraid of you. Gu Santong rolled up his sleeves, but Zhuo Fan stopped him from starting a fight mulling over in his head. Zhuo Fan nodded. All right, we will see your master. Lead the way. It is quite far from here. Please get on my back. I will take you. The three-headed crow leaned in, and Zhuo Fan hopped on along with Gu Santong. Gu Santong was still grumbling. Dad, isn't this admitting defeat? It'll make me look bad. Ha ha ha, how is this a defeat? The other party is only inviting us. Though it is compulsion, it was with respect. We have to go. It's like knowing when to face reality and accept the facts. We'd have to go even if we didn't want to, but the difference in attitude would have been worlds apart. With such an obvious gap in strength, rather than setting oneself up for humiliation, taking a step back is recommended. Zhuo Fan smiled. Besides, your dad is curious to see the mystery expert. I have some questions that need answers. Zhuo Fan flicked his finger, and the azure flame shone above it, reflected in those deep black eyes of his. Hold on. The three-headed crow flapped its massive wings, carrying them into the heavens above. That simple yet wide movement changed the perspectives of Zhuo Fan and Gu Santong in a blink, finding themselves in a foreign area. Does he have a teleporting skill, like Dad's divine eye of the void? Gu Santong looked around at the new area he was in. Zhuo Fan shook his head. Spanning thousands of miles, it covers the moon and holds the sky. A famous saying in the sacred domain, describing one of the 5 great sacred beasts, the vaulting Kunping's incredible power. In one flap, it crosses 9,000 miles. The three-headed crow, a being of the vaulting Kunping's bloodline, is not as impressive, but it can still cross 100 miles. That was no teleportation, but pure speed. SSS. Gu Santong gasped, amazed at the huge bird. You're actually so cool. That's why I told you we can't win. I can blink away, true, but only a couple miles at most. Zhuo Fan patted Gu Santong's shocked head. The three-headed crow's lively tail betrayed its good mood, even with the frozen expression, as it humbly said, You're too kind. Such a parlor trick is nothing to you, young master. The crow flew deeper into the all-beast mountain range. The spiritual beasts along the way saw their eldest brother passing and lowered their heads in homage. Even 9th-level spiritual beasts, even the hunting spiritual beasts, paused to show their respects. This was the power it had here, mainly because of the azure flame, for the azure flame to drive fear into the 9th-level spiritual beasts as well. That means Zhuo Fan squinted. Glancing around, he saw the king of beasts, a 6th-level spiritual beast, being preyed upon and causing a startling scene. What came even more as a shock was how the mortal domain had a place with so many high-level spiritual beasts. It begged the question, who controls this horde? What kind of being is he? Zhuo Fan was looking forward to this meeting an hour later. The three-headed crow landed on a tall mountain covered in thunderclouds. A pitch-black cave faced the all-beast mountain range, like an ever-watchful black eye on these lands. That is my master's residence. Zhuo Fan looked at the cave, at the savage beasts behind them, and sighed that the only way to get here was on the three-headed crow's back. It only took us an hour despite the distance with the two's top speed. It'd take them half a month. The biggest shock was the sheer size of the all-beast mountain range. This area was more than half of the entire range. The true all-beast mountain range master is waiting for you. Please go in. The three-headed crow left with one last polite, urging Zhuo Fan, and Gu Santong nodded. Stepping into the cave, the two were intrepid men. Come what may, we're ready. He wouldn't get to beat them, that was for sure, even if the guy wanted them dead. So it was best to go in headlong, but since he had sent a three-headed crow to guide them here, he ought to be nice. Probably the two put their game faces on who. An azure frame flared to life, shining the entire cave. The blue glow revealed a throne, and sitting on it was the familiar figure Zhuo Fan saw in his dream. He was a stout, middle-aged man in azure garb. He had a sparse beard and a creepy grin. Ha ha ha, my boy, we meet again. You. Zhuo Fan smiled back. Meanwhile, 1,000 meters below Cage Dragon City, In a huge space, a peculiar array was engraved on the floor. 9 golden dragons, 3-meter long, lay in a pattern around it. The golden chain coming from their mouths, binding them to the array's center, ripples of power were released from that center, constant and heavy. If the venerables gathered, nothing untoward will happen when the array is unsealed. Lung Wuchang stood outside the array in worry. Huangpu Tianyuan held a green root, a manic glint in his eyes. Humph! If those geezers knew we had the Bodhi root and can train in the 9 dragons' diamond body, they'll say the house interests come first and select the best candidate to train in it. They would have had Huangpu Fenglei train here and threaten my position. With me moving behind their back, it will soon be too late even if they discover, and they will ultimately obey my word. Regent Estate's strongest and estate lord will ultimately be me, ha ha ha. Nonetheless, no hesitation, Sir Lung. Begin. Huangpu Tianyuan cut off Lung Wuchang's worry. Lung Wuchang sighed, and his hands moved whoosh. In a flash of gold, the 9 dragons pulled on the chains to reveal a bright cave-releasing dragon roars. Huangpu Tianyuan was thrilled with every step, rushing inside. The glowing cave mouth was soon sealed back as the chains moved. Only Lung Wuchang was wrought with worry, looking at the calmness. If Huangpu Tianyuan couldn't master the skill, the seal would break, and the 8 dragons would crush even venerables. The dragon vein souls would rain havoc. Chapter 413, Vaulting Kunpeng. Chapter 413, Vaulting Kunpeng. Thank you, Senior, for all the times that you saved me. Zhuo Fan made a full bow after finding out he was the Azure Flame person back. Then the man sneered, "Ha ha ha, boy, I only saved you that one time from a wolf pack. Since the Senior has granted me the Azure Flame, Junior has used it many times to save himself. It is the same as Senior lending a hand. I will never forget such a favor." Zhuo Fan bowed again. The man stared Zhuo Fan down, though uncaring if he was sincere or not. "It's fine, I won't be asking for payment. Why don't you take it out for me to see it?" Zhuo Fan froze, unsure what game he was playing, but with his immense strength, Zhuo Fan would never win, choosing to play along. He put out his finger, and an azure glow burst out. The man looked stunned at the flame, then sighed. "I thought as much. You refined it. Kid, you sure are lucky." "What do you mean, Senior?" Zhuo Fan probed the man's side. "The Azure Flame is my innate possession, connected with my mind. When I gave you the Azure Flame, I could see everything you do." Zhuo Fan's heart tensed, and his eyes darted around. "That's like having constant surveillance." The man chuckled at his obvious thoughts. "Kid, you're too cautious. What use would I have of someone as feeble as you? I was only watching out for you in case of misfortune and to send someone to your rescue. Please don't twist my goodwill." Zhuo Fan's heart shuddered at his warning. The man resumed. "Yet not long after you got it, you refined the Azure Flame, cutting off my connection. It can only mean 2 things. You either threw it away, something monumentally difficult for someone like you, or you combined it with your body on the deepest level, which is even more unheard of. It has been a problem that's been plaguing me for years, but now I see you really have done it. Kid, you are quite lucky to have it. I wonder which Grand Master you are under?" Zhuo Fan shuddered. The guy hails from the sacred domain, no question about it, and is at least a saint. Better err on the side of caution and be brief and short. He knew about the Blood Infant and Patriarch Blood Demon, yet still showed no ill will. So he has no ties with Patriarch Blood Demon. Saying I am his descendant should be a safe bet. Zhuo Fan cupped his hands. "Greetings, Senior. I come from Sacred Domain, Patriarch Blood Demon's descendant." "Cut the crap." The man lashed out. Patriarch Blood Demon was strong, but only a saint who ever cared about his blood infant research. "The skills I saw you use 9 years ago were too intricate to be from anyone under an emperor. Speak. Which one of the ancient emperors is your master?" Zhuo Fan trembled. The guy's eyes were sharp and insidious. Just from that array 9 years ago, he could tell Zhuo Fan's master's level. There's no way a pushover knows about the 10 ancient emperors and Patriarch Blood Demon. And since he lives surrounded by beasts, it's king even, maybe. Zhuo Fan's sweat flowed harder in front of this guy. He was less than an ant, of no value whatsoever. The man saw him silent and sneered. Kid, I've roamed the world all my life and seen everything. You may not say it, but I can still guess it. Those pills and arrays you used were as marvelous as they were rare, yet you are also masterful in the heinous blood infant. The only emperor in the world who is so knowledgeable and a secret art hoarder is that old freak 9 Serenities. Shuddering harder, Zhuo Fan was in a panic in just one guess. The man had found out everything. And that too merely from watching him use the arrays. The guy had to have ample experience that even the demonic emperor couldn't compare to. I am in awe of the senior's gaze. Zhuo Fan made a deep bow. I am indeed 9 Serenity's emperor's successor, but I never had the chance to meet him. Ha ha ha, that would be close to impossible. I reckon he already went to the underworld and became a ghost by now. The man shook his head. In the times of the 10 emperors, each had his unique skill. Heavenly Emperor's eyes, Tyrant Emperor's divine fist, while only 9 Serenities was a jack of all trades. He was ashamed to the others. They all took him for a fake. But 9 Serenities, sure, was persistent, gathering the world's secret arts and cultivation methods. And through all that knowledge, he became one of the strongest 3 emperors. He compiled all of his knowledge in the 9 Serenities' secret records, a treasure everyone is thirsting over. I just never thought Patriarch Blood Demon's blood infant art would fall into his hands as well. Kid, holding that record is the same as turning you into the world's most brilliant gem, a library of secrets, with all arts beneath the 10 emperors in your hands. You have received the greatest blessing in your path to understand Tao. Zhuo Fan nodded, wiping his brow in just a few words. The guy had figured him out as the holder of the 9 Serenities' secret records. Everyone in the sacred domain would go insane over it, ending with his untimely demise. Of course, as luck would have it, this guy thought of himself as better than even the emperors, mocking their greed for some scribbles. He respected the 9 Serenities' secret records, but wouldn't steal it from the kid. This was Zhuo Fan's luckiest break, yet not like he could stop him anyway. Zhuo Fan mustered some courage. Senior, from your tone, I assume you're familiar with the 10 emperors. I wonder. You've been to the Lightning Canyon. What did you get? The man asked, coldly licking his lips. Zhuo Fan gave a firm nod. Senior, I have indeed been there. Senior's azure flame was of much help in fighting Lightning Canyon's purple lightning array. I just don't know if the senior wants the purple lightning gold eye or divine eye of the void. Zhuo Fan's right eye flashed in 3 gold halos. The man's mouth trembled. He smiled and scratched his head. Ha ha ha, you did find it after all. My assistance hasn't been for naught. He wants Heavenly Emperor's ultimate skill, divine eye of the void. All that's left to figure out is if he is after the art or my eyes. He won't be gouging them out, is he? The stout man laughed again in his imperial seat, jerking him out of his thoughts. Kid, didn't you want to know who I am? Feast your eyes. A raging fire exploded behind him, azure in color and in the shape of a huge bird with even bigger wings. Zhuo Fan's eyes widened. The head of the 5 sacred beasts vaulting Kunping. He came to the same guess earlier on, but seeing was believing. Shaking his tense heart, the 5 sacred beasts were equal to the 10 emperors, but rulers of beasts meeting vaulting Kunpeng was like meeting an emperor of old. Even if he was back to being the demonic emperor, an emperor-level expert, he'd still be nothing more than an ant. Smiley face, funny enough, the character for emperor in demonic emperor implies higher power and authority than the emperor in the 10 emperors. Now he knew why every beast cowered before the azure flame. How could they rebuke the mighty lord of the animal kingdom? Even humans would shiver when facing such a mighty beast as the vaulting Kunpeng. He saw the soaring Qilin in the Lightning Canyon, but it was already dead, leaving behind a mere leg. While vaulting Kunpeng was in the flesh before his very eyes, Merely the image behind him shone with such power and pressure that it took his breath away. It was the aura of a sacred beast. Gulping hard, Zhuo Fan was sweating buckets. Gu Santong had hunkered behind him from the start. Eerily quiet for once, not even he dared showboating before the vaulting Kunping chuckling. Vaulting Kunping withdrew his power and walked down from his throne, watching Zhuo Fan in glee. You truly are Nine Serenity's successor. I wasn't wrong to put my hopes on you. Now it's time for the next step. Next? Zhuo Fan jerked. Vaulting Kunping helped me for his own reasons like I thought. But what is he after? Chapter 414, Qilin's Son. Chapter 414, Qilin's Son. I'll fulfill any wish you may have, Senior, come hell or high water. Zhuo Fan cupped his hands, his waist bent. Like the most adorable child, Kunping laughed. Please don't play around. 9 Serenities was a sly fox back then, and with you as his successor, you can't be anything less either. I am not one to believe anything that comes out of your mouth. And like I said, I'm not asking for repayment. This next step is merely a request of mine. You can decide what to do, but you better do it right if you accept. Zhuo Fan pursed his lips. Kunping was kind and humble, only requesting. But this style was the best suited in maneuvering others. He knew that if Zhuo Fan's promise was fake, the only one to suffer would be himself. The carrot would be more appropriate in these cases. Adding enough incentive to get the job done, Zhuo Fan knew that Kunping's request would be hard, if not impossibly dangerous. There was no way to accept it before even knowing what it entailed. Kunping nodded. Good to know that you are considering everything. You are the spitting image of the cunning 9 Serenities. The more thoughtful you are, the more at ease I would be on entrusting you with this. Before that, though, I would like to ask, mind letting that child be in my care? Kunping turned to Gu Santong hiding behind Zhuo Fan, filled with love. What? The two cried at the same time. Gu Santong made himself smaller behind Zhuo Fan and shivered. Senior, young Sanzi is my godson. Why do you want him? Zhuo Fan panicked, knowing he couldn't stop Kunping if he was forceful. Kunping looked at them oddly. How rare. You two hit it off at first sight and even became a family. This is even better. But the child is related to me, and teaching him will help him greatly. Zhuo Fan roamed his eyes around in thought. You've seen Brother Qilin in Lightning Canyon, correct? He must be so thin, struck down by the purple lightning for so many years. This child could have only survived in the Lightning Canyon due to his father's help. Taking him out and even becoming family must be because of Brother Qilin's approval. You now know who I am, and since me and his father are sacred beasts, it would be better to let me take care of him. Cut the crap. Gu Santong hooted. This young master has lived in Tianyu. I only stayed in Lightning Canyon for 5 years. How can I be Qilin's son? Kunping looked at Zhuo Fan in stunned silence. Zhuo Fan retold Gu Santong's history. Kunping fell silent, frowned, and sighed. I see, it was 300 years ago. What's wrong, Senior? Zhuo Fan asked Gu Santong was his godson. He had a theory about the kid's history, but still needed proof. Kunping said. 3 centuries ago, I heard a sudden cry across the world. It sounded like Brother Qilin's roar of anger. My brothers had an encounter with the Heavenly Emperor once, sealing them in the 3 forbidden spaces with the divine eye of the void, forced to endure the torment of thousands of purple lightning strikes. For many years, this remained unchanged. Then, at some point, Brother Qilin gave a howl of shock. I didn't know its meaning, but now I see it must have meant that he could no longer hold on and was worried for his Qilin egg dying with him. He used all he had left to throw the egg out of that space. And from that egg came you, Gu Santong. This is why you had no mother or father, of incredible power, just like Qilin's innate ability. None of the 5 sacred beasts can beat a Qilin in terms of strength alone. Gu Santong was stunned. He was still skeptical, but soon realized the pain he felt looking at the soaring Qilin's leg back in Lightning Canyon was because of their blood ties. Anyone would be in tears seeing their father reduced to such a state. Zhuo Fan nodded. He didn't know then why the perfect array had a gap. The Qilin used its outrageous power to make that hole to get his egg out, yet even the mighty Qilin could only make that little hole, further confirming the might of Heavenly Emperor's ice skill. And in his act of desperation, the Qilin not only lost its life, but was reduced to a mere leg. He had to have overused his strength, leaving him easy prey for the purple lightning. The Qilin might still be alive if not for getting Gu Santong out. Zhuo Fan sighed. A father's love is like a mountain. Yes, I'm sure of it. When you guys entered All Beast Mountain Range, besides sensing the azure flame, I also felt the Qilin's aura. Now that you are before me, my sacred beast nose can't be wrong. That is why I had 3-headed crow escort you here. To see it clearly. Kuinpeng rubbed Gu Santong's little head, sighing, Child, you should call me Uncle Kuinpeng. Gu Santong only blushed. Biting his lip and tearing up Kuinpeng wasn't hard on him, letting him digest this shocking news and turning to Zhuo Fan. Young Sanzi's history is certain, but I can't help but wonder, what came of Brother Qilin after you entered Lightning Canyon? How is he? Zhuo Fan gave a bitter smile, making his right hand flash red. Only this remained. What? The soaring Qilin's leg is resting under your shoulder? Kuinpeng was flabbergasted. Touching Zhuo Fan's right arm, the great sacred beast became a human's tool. 9 Serenities Emperor's research was complete. You are a truly rare genius, boy. Kuinpeng instantly took it as an effect of 9 Serenities Emperor's secret art. But Zhuo Fan was frowning, the sadness gone from his eyes, replaced with fear for God's sake. Here you are seeing your old pals' only remains, and instead of mourning, you're praising 9 Serenities Emperor's research. Humph, the sacred beasts aren't that friendly after all. Does that mean all that sadness just now was fake? He came up with 2 logical explanations, to win Gu Santong over and to win him over. Since he still has stuff he needs me to do, winning me over takes precedence. Let's see where he's taking it. Zhuo Fan squinted but sighed. Senior, please don't grieve. Oh, sorry, I lost myself there. Blushing, Kuinpeng took back his hands, the sadness back in his eyes. Senior, what is it that you want from me? Snickering inside, Zhuo Fan bowed. Kuinpeng sighed. As the leader of the 5 sacred beasts, I mourn the fates of 3 of my brothers sealed away in such spaces, unable to get out, with me powerless to help. That is why I want you to do it, get my brothers out of there. I will never forget your immense effort. Senior exaggerates. Nothing is impossible with your power. Junior is a mere ant's disciple. How can my meager skill rescue seniors from eternal damnation? Zhuo Fan sighed. Kuinpeng rushed. Kid, you underestimate yourself. With 9 Serenities Emperor and Heavenly Emperor's ultimate skills, the sky's the limit. And those spaces came to be through the divine eye of the void. You who possess that skill will have no problem removing the seal. But my achievement is meager. It'd be better to give the art to Senior. With your training, you'd complete it in no time. No. Kuinpeng shook his head hastily. Each person has his own path. Humans comprehend Tao, to rule over everything, while sacred beasts unearth the power deep within. Each has their own strengths, but never can they mix. A human's art is something a sacred beast and spiritual beasts can never learn. Zhuo Fan unclenched. Of course, he didn't lose it and turned charitable. He wouldn't just hand it over. It was all a test. Now that he knew that the sacred beast couldn't use his art, he breathed easier since there was no conflict of interests. They could build a stable business relationship. Dad, just do it! Gu Santong's pitiful eyes turned to Zhuo Fan, recalling his father's tragic passing. Gu Santong wished to help the other sacred beasts, but Fan patted his little head. Chuckling fondly, "Little scamp, how can I not? We are in another guy's home after all." He said, "He won't force us, but even a moron can see this is no request." Humph! If I don't agree, there won't be a bone left of my body in this mountain range. But Gu Santong merely showed a bright smile. His innocence warmed the cockles of his heart. The kid's puppy looks aside. Business is business. It was not Chuafan's style to meet such a money-bag and not fleece him of every last penny, or spirit stone case in point. Chuafan bowed. Senior, since you are trusting me with such a monumental task, I would be needing some support. Kunping's face was twitching, getting the drift. Ha ha ha. I didn't meet that old freak 9 serenities. But you sure have that geezer's style down pat. Ha ha ha, no worries. I have a great gift prepared. Chapter 415, Open the Mind. Chapter 415, Open the Mind. Pa! Kunping snapped his fingers as rumbling came from outside. Kunping glanced at the two, walked out and smiled. Come with me. They were right behind him, but froze as they left the cave. It was a heap of bloody spiritual beast wings. Scarlet blood ran from the base in rivulets, a testament to how freshly plucked they were well over them. 9th-level spiritual beasts flew around still, adding to the heap an extra pile of bloody wings, shaking the ground every time Chuafan gasped. As a demonic emperor, he had seen his fair share of ghastly genocides, but it was his first time seeing it done by their own kin in cold blood. He now knew for sure that Kunping was a determined, vicious, and ambitious person. Spiritual beasts were naught but slaves to a sacred beast, their tiny little lives having no worth whatsoever. Even as they tore those wings from the beast's shivering bodies, their hearts wouldn't so much as twitch. I know you've been looking for spiritual beast wings. Here are 100,000 from 4th, 5th, and 6th level spiritual beasts. I can have them. Fetch more if you want. Kunping smiled in a savage tone, fitting for a beast overlord. Chuafan waved quickly. Senior is so thoughtful. I could never use so many. I only wanted 1,000. Senior's generosity and consideration has been more than enough. However, my ring can't hold so many wings. It's fine. Kunping flicked his hand, and a heap of wings entered his ring before he handed it over to Chuafan. Please take it. It was a ring sparkling in azure, of a different class than his thunder ring. It had such a thick spiritual energy coming from it that it gave off a refreshed feeling and filled one with yuan qi. There was no way an average guy could just show up and make one sacred ring. He wanted to go for it, but taking such an item couldn't be done casually. Only those in power in the sacred domain had the right to flaunt such rings. Not even he, a demonic emperor, qualified. Kunping chuckled at his hesitation. I see. Although no one can recognize this sacred ring in the mortal domain, you will one day go back to the sacred domain. Ha ha ha, you have such a far gaze. But it's fine. Kunping hooked his finger, and the thunder ring flew into his hand. With a flash of azure, the two rings combined, thunder ring on the outside, but still as large inside as the sacred ring. Chuafan paled and sighed inside. Such skill, his refining must be divine. Another thing this demonic emperor found he was lacking. Vaulting Kunping truly is the head of the 5 sacred beasts, of the same existence as the 10 emperors. His dumbfounded look stroked Kunping's ego, smiling and nodding. The guy's cunning tricks involved not only luring but shock and awe as well. See that? No flattery will ever match my greatness. So be good and stick with me if you want to live a good life, or I just might squash you. Chuafan's face was just the one he had wished for. Ah! Kunping raised an eyebrow, looking at the ring stunned. With a wave and a flash of purple, a purple thunder skylark flew out and landed behind Chuafan. He glanced at Kunping in fear, further hiding behind his father. How odd. This thunder skylark wields the power of purple lightning. Kunping's eyes shook, pointing at Qiaoer. Boy, did you have a role in getting the thunder skylark to use purple lightning? Yes and no. When I entered Lightning Canyon, Qiaoer hadn't hatched and was forced to use it to absorb the purple lightning. I never expected for him to turn out like this. His mind is also sharper than a mere spiritual beast. It is his fortune. Chuafan stated. Why, Senior, is there a problem? It's such a freaky event that I've never seen one in my life. Heavenly Emperor's purple lightning comes from heaven-splitting thunder phoenix, one of the 5 sacred beasts. Its innate ability was this purple lightning. A sacred beast would pop under its attack, and not even soaring Qilin could defend against it. Even with the thunder skylark capable of swallowing lightning, it should still crumble under the purple lightning. But this thunder skylark was born from it. It's like inheriting the thunder phoenix's legacy. Amazing! Kunping sighed. Zhuo Fan figured as much. While the egg took the brunt of the purple lightning back then, he was using the peak of 9 Serenities Emperor's research. Demon transformation art, it can absorb anything in the world. This had to be why the undeveloped Xiaoer could take in the purple lightning into himself. While Zhuo Fan took some of the brunt as well, without this mystical art, the man and bird would have long been shot dead. Zhuo Fan had figured it all out, but was not feeling quite forward with this particular info. With how humans were twisted inside, discretion was the better side of valor, not to mention keeping his cards hidden. Humph! Kunping may know the ancient emperors, but he has no clue of 9 Serenities Emperor's masterpiece, the demon transformation art. The unknown is the ultimate weapon. Zhuo Fan knew that fully well since his first life to the pondering and baffled Kunping. Zhuo Fan put on an equally dumbstruck look Kunping's side in the end. Such a huge opportunity. This bird's fortune is immense. Kid, you sure have one lucky star. Not only you're blessed yourself, but even your damn pet struck gold. You're practically blinding from all the karma on you. Senior, that's just luck. Zhuo Fan bowed. Kunping grinned. Then let me add my own blessing and gild the lily. Kunping motioned and Xiaoer drew closer. Panicking and crying, Gu Santong wanted to interfere. But Zhuo Fan stopped him. Kunping was the head of sacred beasts. He wouldn't lower himself to picking on 4th-level spiritual beasts. Kunping fixed his happy eyes on Xiaoer, and an azure glow flew from his finger, and into the bird's forehead. Xiaoer's frantic wings stopped. It cawed once and bowed. Thank you for your blessing, sacred lord. Xiaoer can speak. Gu Santong turned shocked to Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan was out of it as well, but only for a jiffy. But why is it a female? Yep, Xiaoer was a she now, along with all the perks that entailed. She had a soothing voice and was unlike her old man in style, though a chick in more ways than one. She shouldn't have such a soft voice, even as a young one. It was totally different from Gu Santong. Father, brother, I have always been a girl. You just always took me for... Xiaoer flapped next to the two, blinking her huge innocent eyes. Zhuo Fan Ahmed's son. Younger brother. Gu Santong blushed. Xiaoer huffed and puffed, flying around the two. I'm a girl, a girl! Ha ha ha, kid, you don't even know your spirit animal's gender? Kunping cracked up. Malarkey. How should I know when I didn't send her to find a mate? Rolling his eyes, Zhuo Fan kept that to himself and only showed respect. It's of my own neglect, embarrassing myself before Senior. But what did Sir do? Open her mind. Kunping smiled. Kid, I have to admit, you are loaded with treasures, yet can't even see them. I was born out of chaos itself to become the head of the 5 sacred beasts. Like that thunder phoenix. I use the chaos flame, a gentle flame. It can transcend the soul, harmonize yin and yang, and open the mind. Kid, you have my chaos flame. If you used it to refine your soul for 10 years, you would have been in the ethereal stage. What are you still doing in the profound heaven stage? A darn shame. Why didn't you tell me that the first time? Zhuo Fan was stumped and grumbling inside. At least he was a hard worker in building up his strength all this time, but who'd be a moron to skip such a shortcut? It should have hit him a long time ago, in fact, when he got his discerning field and wielded Radiant Stage's skills. Weren't all of them a byproduct of the azure flame? Why didn't he take the educated and logical guess of using it to refine his soul? Zhuo Fan felt like shedding dry tears. All those years for nothing. Kunping shook his head. I gave you the azure flame to shield your soul while also helping you get in the lightning canyon. I never intended for you to use it and go ethereal. But now that you've refined my old flame, You have complete control over it and should have enjoyed your fortune. A shame you're such a schmuck to understand this basic truth. Ha ha ha. Joafan's face twitched. Chapter 416 loaded. Chapter 416 loaded. What's 10 wasted years, anyway? You'll have plenty of time to cultivate in the future. Don't feel too down in the dumps. Kuenpeng patronized, he snapped his fingers, and the new and improved thunder ring returned to Joafan, sighing. Joafan put it on, and his eyes popped out. This is 10 billion sacred spirit stones. Ha ha ha, this is the gift I was talking about. What? You thought it'd only be some spiritual beast wings. Kuenping spoke with pride. I mean, I am an ancient powerhouse that roamed the continent, after all. This is nothing. With that old Coot 9 Serenity's bag of fancy arrays and tricks, you'd stumble upon some monsters at some point, and with my little help you can now survive them. Just work hard in helping me. That's all the compensation I want. Upstart. Joafan clicked his tongue, seeing the motherlode sparkling in his ring. The sparse spiritual treasures and ingredients gave such a poor feeling besides the billions of sacred spirit stones. It's more than what the sacred domain's heads of sacred clans can come up with. Arrays demanded spirit stone, and above the 12th grade arrays, there were 6 more, the sacred arrays. Those worked only with sacred spirit stones, but sacred spirit stone mines only existed in the sacred domain, in the hands of the clans there, not to mention their low number. Yet Kuenping smashed him with so many zeros with a flick. That's a sacred beast's boss for you. Everything he does it in style. Joafan put the ring on with a shiver. He was so moved he could cry. Kuenping nodded. Now that's called glossing over the defects to take advantage of someone. I gave you a fortune, so you better do your own part and more. Joafan took a deep breath and cupped his hands. Senior, I will see this through, come what may. I will find the other danger zones and save seniors from impending doom. Very good. Kuenping beamed. I've got this slick to change his mind. If there's nothing else, start right away. Young Sanzi will stay with me as I pour my all in teaching him. He's been out there for 300 years without a guide, unable to make use of his sacred beast innate strength. What a shame. Kuenping spoke, the 3-headed crow landed. Obviously intending to give Joafan a lift out of here, Joafan nodded, put Xiaoer in the ring, and patted Gu Santong's head before hopping on the bird's back. Gu Santong was downcast, pleading with Kuenping. I want to send Dad off. Kuenping nodded. Gu Santong perked up and jumped on the 3-headed crow, as well the 3-headed crow flapped away, taking them outside All Beast Mountain Range. Kuenping watched them vanish in the distance, with a glint in his eyes. Ha ha ha. Who would have imagined I'd run into Thunder Phoenix's successor? Although a mere chick and soft, but very much capable of becoming a sacred beast. Kuenping's smile twisted. Now that I think about it, it might not be long before the 5 sacred beasts will reassemble. That will be the day, Heavenly Emperor, the day we will settle our old score. Kuenping laughed and entered the pitch-black cave in under an hour. The 2 arrived at the same spot they left from. Joafan grabbed Gu Santong as they jumped off. He glanced wearily at the 3-headed crow, then transmitted. Young Sanzi, listen and don't talk. All right? Gu Santong gave him an odd look, but nodded. Don't take everything Kuenping said as true. You need to keep your guard up, as he is the head of the 5 sacred beasts, and you are the son of one. Training by his side will be the best scenario for you. But he has a hidden agenda. Just now, he nitpicked on the trivial instead of focusing on the bigger things. Not once did he mention his beef with the Heavenly Emperor. This only proves that there must be more to it than it looks. You have to be careful. Joafan put on a heavy expression, making Gu Santong confused if Kuenping wanted to harm him. He would be like a fish waiting to be gutted. Joafan saw right through him, responding with a reassuring look. You will be safe staying with him for now. He wants me to do something, and even if his intentions are bad, he won't act on them anytime soon. From our talk, I realized that he has a fatal weakness. He knew something happened to Qilin 3 centuries ago Yet he didn't leave the mountain to look for you. Besides, we've been through one danger zone already. The threat is there, but we only pushed through with luck. While Kunpeng has the power to break the zone and rescue his friends, why is it that so many years have passed, yet not once has he tried to? It goes to show that he can only hide in the all-beast mountain range. Taking one step outside will spell disaster for him. If you notice anything out of place, anything at all, young Sanzi, you run like hell out of the all-beast mountain range. Kunpeng would have spat blood in anger if he were here and cursed him as ingrate. For God's sake, I just gave you a fortune, and you bite me behind my back as thanks? You're nothing but a low-life degenerate sowing discord between us. Sacred beasts. What did he expect? Zhuo Fan's entire personality was built on biting others and keeping his constant guard up against others biting back, and since it concerned young Sanzi's safety, Zhuo Fan was particularly chewy. He had always thought of this child as his own son. Gu Santong sighed at Zhuo Fan's look and gave a thumbs up. Dad, you're the best. I'll be extra careful. Also be mindful not to tick him off. Rubbing Gu Santong one last time, Zhuo Fan sighed. Fondly, Gu Santong bobbed his head. The three-headed crow flapped. Young master, we should be going. Ha ha ha, young master. I thought it odd before, but now you really are young master Qilin, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan teased. The mood brightened on the spot. Gu Santong knew he wanted him to be carefree and worry-free, and smiled back. Dad, I am all beast mountain range's young master, and that makes you the master. If anyone shafts you, just tell me, and I will set them straight. Good, now go. Zhuo Fan laughed. Gu Santong jumped on the crow, but his eyes never left Zhuo Fan, choking from tears. Dad, come see me even if no one's mean to you. Whoosh! The crow was gone with one flap, cutting his heartfelt goodbye. Zhuo Fan sighed, his heart heavy. He could never feel at ease with Gu Santong at Kunpeng's side. Not like he had a choice in the matter. With a deep breath, Zhuo Fan calmed down and flew for Windgaze City. 3 months later, a flash streaked Windgaze City skies announcing Zhuo Fan's arrival on Blackwind Mountain. A glance told him the 4 5th-grade arrays were still up and running. With a gesture, the arrays opened up a path for Zhuo Fan to walk in. The Luo clan responded on the spot at the commotion, only to burst with joy. Brother Zhuo, I thought something happened to you after what happened with the emperor, that you were hounded on every side. Only when I met with Sister Schwanger, I realized it was all part of your grand plan. I could finally breathe easier. Ha ha ha. Luo Yinhai welcomed. Zhuo Fan nodded. Seeing everyone here took a weight off his shoulder. Lung Wucheng kept his word. You jerk. Why didn't you tell us it's part of the plan? We were worried sick. Luo Yinchang blamed him. Zhuo Fan merely waved his hand. Elderly, did you finish what I asked? The elders looked at each other in sorrow. Li Jingtian was forced to speak up. Steward Zhuo, we were eager at first to get the materials, ingredients, and spirit stones you asked of us. But we are a new house, and the mines in our domain are few. And ever since you've been added to the top of the Empire's wanted list, those vassals stay clear of us, not wanting to have anything to do with this mess. We were unable to get everything in such a situation. Also, our guards are defending the 1,000 members of the Yun clan, who, per your instructions, are at the foot of Blackwind Mountain, digging a 1,000-mile-wide bunker. Good. As long as the bunker is ready, it's fine. I've brought the rest. Zhuo Fan snickered in a flash. Blackwind Mountain was overloaded with heaps of materials and ingredients, as well as spirit stones. Everyone's mind froze. How did Zhuo Fan get so many riches? Did he have an empire under him? He had brought out 100 times of what the rest of them had scraped together. Now, follow my earlier plan and handle these. The lands will soon be ours. Zhuo Fan's step was firm as he walked before them. Everyone was still out of it, even as he was gone from sight. What did Steward Zhuo do in the last few months to get filthy rich? He's a total upstart. You won't even need to fight for the lands when you can just buy them. Chapter 417, Taunt. Chapter 417, Taunt. A chilling wind blew that night as the stars glittered like eternal fireworks. The light was still on in the imperial palace's study. The eerie sound of the wind rattling the window was putting everyone on edge. A sigh came now and then, reflecting the same state on the inside. Mr. Sima, why do you think that rotten Huangpu Tianyuan is still so late in making his move? I even handed him the power over the 7 houses. Such perfect opportunities don't come cheap. The emperor's fingers drummed the table, his eyes sharp as blades. Sima, Hui replied. Your Majesty, Lung Wucheng is no fool. He asked for the Luo clan to gain an excuse for its expansion campaign. His delayed start, however, points at his sight on the imperial capital. How can Regent Estate start a war with a peaceful imperial capital? If anything, he'll wait for all his forces to be in place to respond to Zhuo Fan and Your Majesty at the same time before beginning. Fong, Qiubai offered. The emperor smiled in anger. Every one of those cunning old foxes are just standing by watching. Zhuge Changfeng is doing it, and so is Lung Wucheng. Humph! The spark to ignite both the court and the nation can happen any moment. But no one wants to stick their neck out in fear of getting hunted by a third. Both conflicts have to happen at the same time. Out there, the civil war of Regent Estate with Zhuo Fan is a battle of supremacy. But is my struggle here with Zhuge Changfeng any different? Just that this crafty geezer leaves me no opening to grab onto. The people will denounce me if I start attacking the Prime Minister without a good excuse. But with how quiet it is in here, how can the war start outside? The emperor sighed. Sima Hui bowed. Your Majesty, Zhuge Changfeng brought the Chuanrong with his authority, using the celebration as an excuse. He must be colluding with them. The event has passed, yet the delegation is still around. Your Majesty will soon get the best reason to cast them out. It won't be long before Your Majesty will. Cough, cough, cough. The emperor's violent coughing fit broke his speech. Taking away the handkerchief, there was blood on it. Your Majesty! Everyone panicked. The emperor had them relax, took his medicine, and eased a breath. Feeling much better, turning to the others, the emperor smiled. It's fine, but my life is coming to an end. I can't hold on for long. An emperor is different from a cultivator. With so many affairs taking up my time, I have little time left for training and to increase my lifespan. Ha ha ha, not even I can fight it. Yes, mister. Sima is right. We have no time to lose. The only one suffering from dragging this any longer will be me. Sima Hui bowed and sighed inside. The others showed their utmost respect for the emperor in a flourish of their own. An emperor, beset by court affairs and limited by time, still wanted to fight with all he had to leave a peaceful and unified world, his legacy. For successor, the people might remember him for being weak and mock him for his incompetence. But only his men knew the truth. He was just like the emperors of old, bold and powerful. Hear my edict. The emperor boomed. Divine dragons Sima Hui, Fong Qiubai, and Shadow King are to set for Regent Estate and assist the estate lord Huangpu Tianyuan in capturing Zhuo Fan. Set out at once. What? The men were in complete shock. Sima Hui urged. Your Majesty, the imperial capital is still in unrest. Who will protect you if we go? Please delay your order. Please, Your Majesty. The others bowed. The emperor smiled, his gaze set. I am just giving them a chance to run amok. Ha ha ha. The emperor flicked his hand and left with a carefree laughter. Only the men were still standing there looking at themselves, lost. They knew their lord's character. His orders were final. The divine dragons and Shadow King had to obey. Whoosh! 3 dots flew out of the imperial capital. But the news spread like lightning in Prime Minister's home. Zhuge Changfeng was sipping wine in his backyard, enjoying the moon. The ground at his feet swelled and turned into a human shape. Hu Lianchai looked excited. Prime Minister Zhuge, we've just got word that all experts around the emperor went after Zhuo Fan. Young master, an imperial tutor, wished to ask if we should act now. Ha ha ha, what act? You couldn't have enjoyed all what the imperial capital has to offer now, with it being so large. Won't it be better to take a stroll around town, partake in the customs, and just live in the moment? Zhuge Changfeng snickered as he sipped his wine. Hu Lianchai shouted, "Prime Minister, sir, Chuanrong warriors haven't come to watch the sunset. You know that." "Of course I know. It is why I'm telling you to relax and do whatever. Don't play into the old man's hand." Zhuge Changfeng shook his head. Hu Lianchai didn't understand. "Prime Minister, sir, is this all a trap? But I am certain the two divine dragons and Shadow King have left. The Emperor is defenseless." "Ha ha ha, how naive. No divine dragons around and being defenseless are two different things. Don't be hasty. The old coot has come prepared." Sipping again, Zhuge Changfeng waved him off. Hu Lianchai turned and muttered as he left, "Humph! Tianyu is filled with cowards, not acting even at such a golden time." "What did you say?" Zhuge Changfeng warned in his most serious tone. "Give your young master, an imperial tutor, a message. For the next few days, stay calm. You can all die for all I care. But if you threaten the success of my plan over something trivial, you have another thing coming." Zhuge Changfeng might be a mere profound heaven cultivator, but he was the prime minister. His icy tone sent shivers even into Hu Lianchai, a radiant stage expert. "Go back!" Zhuge Changfeng barked. Hu Lianchai nodded, sinking back into the mud. Left alone, Zhuge Changfeng resumed tasting his wine. "Old man, you've finally cast your net. But isn't using this bait a little dangerous? Or is there something else you're hiding besides divine dragons and Shadow King?" Zhuge Changfeng contemplated meanwhile. In the second prince's brand new manor, the prince was pacing around the lounge, his hands shaking all the time. A shadow slipped in under the cover of the night. Hell Valley's newest mastermind, Yu Ming. "Your Highness, you asked for me?" Yu Ming bowed. Second prince shot for him in restlessness. "Sir Yu Ming, perfect timing. I've just heard a crucial piece of information." Second prince's eyes darted around. Then he whispered when the coast was clear. "Imperial Father's two divine dragons and Shadow King went after Zhuofan. Imperial Father is defenseless. Even a moron could see that this was a taunt, and only a dumbass like you would fall for it. Then again, if not for your dim-wittedness, I'd never get to play you like a fiddle." Yu Ming hid his thoughts well, only showing a faint smile. "Second prince, I do not understand what you wish from me. Sir Yu Ming, you should understand the situation right now." Second prince was jittery, flailing his arms around, but still couldn't quite get the nerve to say those few little not-so-innocent words. "Sir Yu Ming, you know how Holy Maiden judged me unfit to rule." Second prince is too anxious. Regarding fate, 3 parts are heaven's will and 7 parts hard work. You're no believer to enter the stage, nor would you have let Yin Xuanji read Huangpu Qingtian's fate. And didn't Huangpu Qingtian, with his right to rule, get killed in the end? Yeah, I also believe all this hype about Providence is nonsense. Second prince agreed. "That is why I asked for you, Sir Yu Ming, to help me rewrite fate." Second prince, "I cannot even read fate." Yu Ming played the fool, knowing fully well the schmuck's mind. Second prince took a breath to cool his jets. "Sir Lung, I want you to advise me on my next course of action." "Wait and see." Yu Ming spoke. Second prince was disappointed. "But the situation now." "Your Highness, why ask for me if your mind is set?" Yu Ming cut him off with a smile. Second prince shook his head. "To me, Sir Yu Ming is the brightest mind in the world, better than Lung Wucheng and Zhuge Changfeng. None of them could play Zhuofan, but Sir Ming's advice of asking Yin Shuang's hand got the kid good. He isn't just on the ropes, but has the entire nation after him. Sir Ming is a true mastermind. Since you've told me to stay put, then that's what I'll do." Yu Ming nodded with a pleased smile, but snickered inside. "You fool! Do you take Zhuofan for a mental case to fall for such a gimmick? He was in on it the whole time. Who do you think had me use you to set it up in the first place? Humph, this moron is hopeless. Better to side with Regent Estate and Zhuofan and take the first chance I get to sell out this fool." Yu Ming's grin earned the second prince's complete trust. Then he praised, "Good child." Chapter 418, Pushing Through. Chapter 418, Pushing Through. Sir Lung, what are you doing here? At the super-secret, huge array thousands of meters under Cage Dragon City, the tough and muscled figure of Huangpu Fenglei walked up from behind Lung Wuchang, heart tense. Lung Wuchang replied, "What I must." Sir Lung should oversee the situation outside and not keep watch over the dragon vein seal. You need to deploy the venerables. Huangpu Fenglei's tone was cold. Information has been received from the imperial capital. The divine dragons are on the move and the emperor is alone. You must have an idea about what we need to do next. Wait and see. Lung Wuchang's reply was on point. Huangpu Fenglei frowned. Sir Lung, please reconsider before making hasty decisions. This is our best chance. Nothing is more important than this moment. Our best choice is to wait and see. Lung Wuchang's eyes never left the array. Huangpu Fenglei felt something was off. Being around Lung Wuchang for so long, he knew this was not his usual style. Wait for what? Huangpu Fenglei glanced about. Sir Lung, how come I haven't seen a state lord around? Usually when one of you is around, the other is not far behind. What is he up to being missing for so long? Estate lord has his own thoughts. It's not something High Venerable needs to worry about. Lung Wuchang tightened his fists, doing his best to maintain calm. Huangpu Fenglei scanned the trembling face and frowned. His suspicions heightened. Sir Lung, Estate Lord is the leader of Regent Estate, and in these pressing times he needs to be on duty, to look out for the house's interests. What exactly is going on with him? Sir Lung, you are the steward and must tell me, as the High Venerable. It is within my right to know. Lung Wuchang took a deep breath and maintained a straight face. Huangpu Fenglei grew ashen by the second, his aura flashing stronger. He didn't get to squeeze harder as dragon roars came from the center of the array. Roar! Wails of agony echoed in between every roar. Huangpu Fenglei could identify that voice from anywhere. W- is a state lord inside the seal. Huangpu Fenglei watched it stunned, then became shocked as the 8 dragon souls inside the seal raved. He snapped a savage look on Lung Wuchang. Sir Lung, what the hell is going on here? Why did the estate lord enter the array? Knowing when to quit, Lung Wuchang sighed as he explained the events. High Venerable instantly identified the issue. The two had gone over the gathering of elders and used the Bodhi root to train the 9 dragons' diamond body. Huangpu Tianyuan was the estate lord. But this crucial decision was too important to be left to one man's decision. This isn't a game. Huangpu Fenglei spat. Have you two forgotten the rules of Regent Estate? How can the two of you make light of the entire house's future, and that Huangpu Tianyuan's talent is lacking, not reaching the radiant stage in decades? He cannot bear the power of the dragon souls. Letting him go in there, you've sent him to his death. No, I have to get him out. Huangpu Fenglei made a sign to open the seal. The question was, did he care so much for that poor man's life? Hell no. If the estate lord kicked the bucket, there'd be plenty more candidates where he came from. What the High Venerable cared about the most was the 8 dragon souls getting tamed, and by someone other than him. He was the High Venerable here, the peak of Regent Estate's power. The 9 dragons' diamond body should be his. Why waste it on a waste who couldn't even enter the radiant stage? He couldn't and wouldn't accept it. Lung Wuchang moved faster, grabbing his hands. High Venerable, don't be rash. With the estate lord training in the 9 dragons' diamond body, it has incited the dragon souls. Open the array now, and the dragons will doom us all. Huangpu Fenglei was still considering, but let his hand rest in the end. Lung Wuchang saw through his desires and advised. With estate lord's talent, achieving it will be for the best, but any mistake is life-threatening. Albeit a tragedy, at least the dragon souls will remain, and finding the next candidate will be easy. We won't be losing much at all in this. The speech hit right where it mattered, making him relax. Yeah, Once he drops dead, only I'll be worthy of training in 9 dragons' diamond body. I can't just risk my future by releasing the dragon souls in the heat of the moment. Ah! A shout of pain came from the center, easing Huang Pu Fenglei's worries. Humph! With the prick's meager talent, he has next to no chance. Waiting will be better. Huang Pu Fenglei sighed. If only a state lord can come back from the brink. May fortune smile upon him. Huang Pu Fenglei left. Just like that, Sir Lung. I will have 10 venerables watch over the array to prevent any dragon soul from slipping out. Thank you so much, High Venerable. Lung Wuchang bowed. Huang Pu Fenglei was gone with a snicker. Lung Wuchang shook his head. Anyone could tell what Huang Pu Fenglei wanted. To have someone inform him of the situation when there was no more peep coming from Huang Pu Tianyuan. He'd strut in, take the Bodhi route, and train himself to glory, just that his plan wouldn't be fulfilled any time soon. Training in 9 dragons' diamond body needed the dragon souls to gnaw on the user and refine the dragonic soul, leading to the creation of the diamond body. The body could break any time under the process, but with a little nifty doohickey called Bodhi root and its endless vitality to offset this, the chances went through the roof. All that mattered now was the mind. With a little metal to push through the pain, success was practically a given. Huang Pu Tianyuan had an average talent, but he was a tough cookie baked through years and years of experience. As a state lord, all of these facts led to Lung Wuchang believing that his chances were perfect. Lung Wuchang mocked. If there's one word you can use to sum up human nature, it's greed. Huang Pu Fenglei did send his men to keep an eye on things, but as months passed, the guards only got to hear wails upon wails, growing louder and louder, with a dragon roar mixed in every now and then. It was mind-boggling how a human being could even make such sounds. But one thing was clear, the man wasn't anywhere near done. Huang Pu Fenglei's mood soured as he counted the days. What's taking him so long to die? Just croak already so I can have a shot. 3 months later, Fang Qiubai's group of 3 came with the emperor's edict to cage Dragon City, urging Regent Estate to deal with Zhuo Fan. Huang Pu Fenglei had had enough of waiting and came down to the array. Sir Lung, the emperor has sent the divine dragons, saying they'll help us capture Zhuo Fan. Huang Pu Fenglei proclaimed his excuse, following up with his real intention. How is a state lord faring? It sounded so innocently caring, but reaching anyone's ears was, is he dead yet? Lung Wuchang snickered inside, just as the wails and dragon roars stopped. Can it be? Lung Wuchang whipped his head on the array. Huang Pu Fenglei lit up like a Christmas tree. He rushed to open the array and peer inside, but the bang halted all movements. The engraved array exploded in a shower of colors, revealing a bloody figure, gasping for air, crawling out. Huang Pu Tianyuan. Even his wretched figure couldn't hide the violent power surging out of him. Everyone stood agape and aware of one truth. The man was reborn. As for the limit to his newfound strength, if it was legend-compliant and 9 dragons' diamond body was invincible, they had no way to know. Only Huang Pu Fenglei's eyes went bloodshot, gnashing his teeth in anger. The punk pulled through? Are the 8 dragon souls in him right now? Estate Lord! Lung Wuchang shouted in joy. Congratulations, Estate Lord, upon your success in training the diamond body. Huang Pu Tianyuan nodded weakly. His smile, faint the venerables, showed no change. Then a sour and insidious voice came. Estate Lord, you have gone over the venerables' council, opened the seal, and broke the house's rules. What right do you have to remain its lord? The others nodded. Huang Pu Tianyuan's eyes, though, shone like a savage. Chapter 419, Earth Dragon Head. Chapter 419, Earth Dragon Head. He looked up at the white-haired elder bearing a twisted smile and a violent aura around him. He was the second venerable under Huang Pu Fenglei, with Huang Pu Fenglei around. He was in fact speaking his boss thoughts. Huang Pu Fenglei looked coldly at the show. Second venerable. What did you say? I couldn't quite hear you from way over there. Huang Pu Tianyuan's face fell, dragging his beaten body to the old man and leaning his ear over second venerable. only got more cocky at his feeble look, raising his head to declare in pride, "Like I said, roar." A bellow, like a caged dragon came, shaking the hearts of all, even High Venerable tensed, and Second Venerable, the target of that howl, had his eardrums punctured and started bleeding from his ears with a puff. His entire head vanished in a black and reeking mouth SS. The rest recoiled. They watched the Second Venerable just standing there, headless, with blood sprinkling from his neck in place of his head. There was now a beast's. Triangular eyes, rough scales, and the size. All pointed at it being a dragon head, but the owner of the head was human in body. Huangpu Tianyuan, in a blink, his head had turned into a dragon's, ripping off Grand Peak Radiant Stage's head clean off the hearts of the rest shuddered as blood seeped from that maw. Any complaints lodged in their throats, Huangpu Fonglei was bug-eyed. 9 dragons, diamond body, dragon head transformation. This transformation boosted invincible defense and sharp fangs to tear into even a radiant stage body. Cultivator Huangpu Tianyuan took 3 months to step into Zhuo Fan and Gu Santong's level of freakishness. To everyone here, he might have even surpassed Zhuo Fan relied on his 2 fists, while he had the 9 dragons' diamond body, leaving no part untransformed, becoming truly invincible. Cold eyes glanced around the rest. Huangpu Tianyuan's head regained its normal form, though the blood still leaked from his mouth. Amplifying the dread, Regent Estate's rule is to listen to the estate lord. I hope venerables will remember that for your sake, Huangpu Tianyuan snickered a threat. It was about time he felt like a true estate lord. Power demanded authority, demanded the respect and obedience of the world. The venerables lowered their heads. We obey estate lord. Huangpu Fonglei sighed, parroting the others. He knew his chance would never come in the Regent Estate. He was no longer the Grand Poba, but a mere thug to send on errands. Glancing over at the Second Venerable's body, it just stood there headless, with blood bubbling non-stop. A swift and pointless death sighing. Everyone turned morose. Their endless glory era as venerables in the Regent Estate had come to pass. Congratulations, Estate Lord. We now have the power to fight this war. Lung Wucheng laughed. Huangpu Tianyuan nodded. Zhuo Fan, Gu Santong, we will be seeing each other soon enough. Ha ha ha. Estate Lord, the Emperor's men. Lung Wucheng spoke of the details. Huangpu Tianyuan nodded and showed a cold smile. Humph! Just some divine dragons and a shadow captain to monitor me? Naive. Huangpu Fonglei rolled his eyes. Just presumptuous much? To look down on even the likes of divine dragons. Then again, it does make sense. Even united, those 3 can't do anything to him. Mocking them is only natural. Huangpu Fenglei's envy grew with each thought, his drool leaking. It would have been so nice if it were me instead. Alas, it's wasted on an average person like him when it would have shined in the hands of a High Venerable, like yours truly. A darn shame. High Venerable shook his head, which Huangpu Tianyuan ignored, saying to Lung Wucheng, but since they're here to assist, we'd do well to use them. No matter what insidious plot they have, my strength will trump it. Estate Lord is brilliant. This is what I've been waiting for. With Estate Lord's unstoppable power, anything can be settled. Even a fight with Zhuo Fan or the imperial family. Lung Wucheng bowed, excited that his long-cherished ambitions were about to come true. Huangpu Tianyuan laughed, strutting. Come, let us meet these experts, ha ha ha. The others bowed and followed. They soon arrived in a lounge, where the divine dragons waited. But the relaxed look on Huangpu Tianyuan had them all tense. Peak Radiant Stage? The trio exchanged shocked looks. They all knew Huangpu Tianyuan was a peak profound heaven cultivator, yet he had now shown up, 3 months later at the same level as them. His speed was more freakish than Zhuo Fan's. They could feel the threat coming from his blood-reeking figure. Only put the 3 on guard. Huangpu Tianyuan's sudden transformation had them on edge. Estate Lord Huangpu, it's been ages. I am impressed. I wonder what miracle art the Estate Lord used to undergo such an amazing transformation. Fong, Chobai probed Sima Hui, and Shadow King paid their respects as well. Tense and eager for the answer, Huangpu Tianyuan grew bolder at their reactions, but dodged the question. Please sit. You have come by the order of the Emperor to help Regent Estate capture that traitor. I am truly grateful. Let us discuss our plan of action. The three glossed over Huangpu Tianyuan's obvious secretive nature and said, How should we proceed, Estate Lord? Ha ha ha. I and Sir Lung have already discussed it. He and Lung Wucheng showed a vague smile before the first continued. To kill the rider, you first need to remove his horse. We will first clip Zhuo Fan's wings. As you all know, Drifting Flowers Edifices, Veiled Dragon Pavilion, and Sword Marquis Abode are on Zhuo Fan's side. Before we move against Zhuo Fan, we need to cut him off, beginning with his allies. You just want the houses. Fong Qiubai squinted. Huangpu Tianyuan's wild ambitions were already an open secret, but it all fell under His Majesty's plan anyway. And the three nodded. Then let us begin according to Estate Lord Huangpu's plan. Sima Hui nodded. Huangpu Tianyuan was giddy inside. That line was the same as having the imperial family validate his thirst for power, that they wouldn't interfere in his campaign. This is the best chance in history. Though clear that the imperial family wouldn't, but in because it had its own hands full. He had to move faster, before the imperial family finished settling up its affairs, and the situation would enter a deadlock again. Huangpu Tianyuan thus put in action the plan of attack on the three houses and notified Hell Valley and Peking Hall to coordinate. What neither side knew was that in the middle of their talks, subtle signals kept pouring out from their location. They spread to the tree outside, then to the stone table, and they kept going further beyond, going from one location to another. It went on for miles, a dozen miles out of Cage Dragon City. In a forest, a figure in black leaned on a huge tree in meditation when the tree let out a signal as well. The figure opened his eyes and used ascending jade. It flew high in the sky, gone in a blink. Chapter 420. Zhuo Fan's Thoughts. Chapter 420. Zhuo Fan's Thoughts. Where's Zhuo Fan? I have crucial intelligence. In the Luo clan hall on Blackwind Mountain, Lei Yuding in all black skipped over. She asked once she saw only Yen Fu was around, playing the assistant and handling resources. Yen Fu pointed at the floor. Go to the bunker. Steward Zhuo has been there for the past few days. Thanks. Lei Yuding waved. Yen Fu asked before she got away. Captain Lei, just what intelligence has got you so giddy? Nothing much. Just that the Regent Estate is on the move. Not to attack us, but our three allies. We have more time to prepare. What? Yen Fu shouted, rushing over. Is the information accurate? Let me see. Lei Yuding raised an eyebrow. What's got you in such a tizzy? It's got nothing to do with you. And this is for the steward's eyes first. An assistant has no right to see it. Yen Fu paused and nodded. It was one of Zhuo Fan's rules to prevent a leak and maintain secrecy. Anyone caught breaking it would be in for a severe punishment. Even with this rule, he was still worried. Captain Lei, let's go to Steward Zhuo. Even if you do report it, with me there as well, he'll allow it. Lei Yuding nodded. The two soon arrived at the bunker. There were people everywhere. Luo clan's guards with the Yun clan's people made up for 10,000 heads, busying themselves in every corner of the cave according to the orders from the front. That was where Zhuo Fan and Yun Shuang, where he was ostensibly making an array, unknown as of yet to what end. Humph! Steward Zhuo, you sure are a good headhunter, flirting and working at the same time, not missing a single second. Lei Yuding saw the two close, and jealousy reared its head. Yin Shuang blushed and lowered her head. Zhuo Fan only raised an eyebrow. Miss Lei, what brings you here? You should be out there gathering intel. Humph! I came here to report. Lei Yuding threw a jade slip, her tone cold at the lovely couple. Steward Zhuo, how's it going between you and Miss Shuang? Any progress? Be nice. Shuanger is Yun clan's holy maiden. We're only discussing how to direct her people. Zhuo Fan turned his attention to the jade slip. Zhuo Fan's cold attitude had her even more enraged. So she turned a broken smile to Yin Shuang. Miss Schwanger, let me give you a warning. Zhuo Fan is unreliable. He draws a pretty crowd, but he only sticks around for 3 months at most, taking the girl and all her possessions. Your sister here is a living witness and victim. So I warn you, as someone who has gone through this already, be on guard around the thieving Zhuo Fan. So you are soft toward Steward Zhua, as well. I thought it's only young Miss Luo. Schwanger blinked her large, innocent eyes, Lei Yuding flushed, still holding her head high in stubbornness. No way! Why would I look at him? Yeah, you don't like me, so don't talk behind my back, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan opened his eyes and chuckled. Regent Estate is finally moving, and against those houses. Not bad at all, just as I predicted. The others were stunned. Why is he so happy if his allies are in the dumps? If our allies cave, won't we be without cover? Yen Fu grew frantic. Steward Zhua, when will Regent Estate strike? How will we assist? Why would we assist? Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed. This is exactly what I want, for the Regent Estate to attack them. If I had to deal with them personally, besides making it awkward for me, it'll be hard to get them on my side. What? Everyone was in complete shock. Zhuo Fan had no intention of repelling the Regent Estate's raid, but was thinking about how to integrate his allies. Those houses were his support, with Veiled Dragon Pavilion being the very first. Selling them out like this, and even turning on them, would be a new low. Zhuo Fan snickered at their thoughts. You're too naive. There's no such thing as an everlasting friend in this world. Even if we beat Regent Estate and the rest back and crown ourselves kings, our alliance with the houses would have run its course, and we'd have a conflict of interests. They'll look at us as the new Regent Estate. It's better to take this prime opportunity and deal with them, ending with a truly peaceful community. This is the way to go. Ain't that right, Miss Yin Shuang? Zhuo Fan snickered. Doesn't your clan always advocate salvation? That's just what I'm doing. Yun Shuang mulled over his words. Zhuo Fan was as despicable as it got, but changing perspective, it would be for a noble cause, for the people's future. She nodded. Lei Yuding remained silent. Only Yen Fu was fretful. Steward Zhua, why, you really don't care about them? How can I not? Am I not taking them all in with open arms instead of wiping them out? I do have a modicum of conscience, you know. Grinning, Zhuo Fan paused. Here's how it's going to play out. Going by the intel, Regent Estate will act in 3 months, so we'll notify our allies 2 months later. Without any preparation, their 1,000-year legacy won't save them, though they can still flee. Leaves us as the only option to turn to. And since they'll be in our house, they'll know to keep their heads down. We'll use this chance to integrate them while making them eternally grateful for our help. That's just how good I am, doing them a favor. Now, ain't that a twofer? Rotten. Everyone revolted. They were sickened by his methods, yet bowed in respect. Such a heartless move could only come from the bottom of a blackened blood pump of a demon, like Zhuo Fan watching the world aflame and swooping in to reap the spoils. That was his style, all right? He would profit and earn fame. More devious and sly than a fox could ever be. Killing their whole house, yet the victims would be ever grateful? That was only something a conscience-free low-life scum who felt no remorse about snuffing out a human life would do, but this was the only way for the Luo clan to come out as the biggest winner, though Yen Fu was morose after hearing the plan. Zhuo Fan asked, Yen Fu, why the long face? With your usual self, you'd never care about the next person. Steward Zhua, could you please save Drifting Flowers edifices? Dandan. Yen Fu hesitated. The brat must be head over heels. This thought led him to a more worrying one. Nice. I approve of a man like you. You stand up for that woman in times of danger. Not like a certain unmentionable someone, so callous and scheming even after spending time with our edifice lord. Lei Yuding slapped Yen Fu's back in praise. Sneaking glance at Zhuo Fan frowned, then shut his eyes. After a sigh, he left his voice, traveled to the shocked ears of everyone. Send word to Drifting Flowers edifices. Tell them to evacuate to Luo clan. As for the other 2 houses, 2 months later. Thank you, Steward Joie. Yen Fu perked up and left happy. Lei Yuding watched Chua Fan's lonely back, then gave Yun Shuang one last word of sincere advice. Miss Schwanger, give up while you have no feelings for him. His heart belongs to someone else. Yun Shuang was puzzled. Lei Yuding sighed. I know him to be a principled man of strength and decisiveness that won't change no matter what. The only 2 times he has lost himself was in Beast King Mountain, over Ninger, and now. I reckon it's over the drifting flowers, edifice, Lord. Sighing, Lei Yuding left. As I cannot move that man, I will give up. Yun Shuang shuddered. She was an ascetic, holy maiden with her mind solely focused on the future. But now, she has sunk into perplexity. As Zhuo Fan left the bunker, he went deeper into the forest. Sullen, a blue-robed person popped up in front of him. Vicious Pill King Yen Song. Elder Yen, what is it? Zhuo Fan glanced. Yen Song was flushed from worry. Steward Zhuo, I heard you've let them use 6th-grade ingredients to make 3rd-grade pills. Yes. Won't it raise their success rate? Zhuo Fan nodded. Yen Song's heart was bleeding. But Steward Zhuo, isn't that a waste? Zhuo Fan grinned. Elder Yen, here's the thing. In half a year, I plan on seeing 100,000 3rd-grade pills, the spirit melding pill. After so many years of being in your care, that batch of hundreds of people can only make a 3rd-grade pill at best, with a low chance of success as well. To get 100,000 pills, I can only use high-grade ingredients to boost the odds. But isn't it still a waste? Yen Song was an alchemist and felt pain seeing them go, like that. Zhuo Fan mocked, his eyebrow high. It's fine, we're rich. Zhuo Fan left suddenly and came back with the biggest haul of the century. And the original plan to bake 10,000 pills was upped to 100,000. It not only meant more work for them, but it had an even lower chance of success. So Zhuo Fan compensated with riches no matter how much Yen Song cherished every leaf and petal. He had to accept it. Going back, slumped and depressed, Zhuo Fan's voice was heard from afar. Oh, Elder Yen, tell Elder Li and the others to gather. We're leaving for Hell Valley soon. And those profound heaven fakers, have them come as well. Zhuo Fan's eyes glinted as his mouth curled in a twisted snicker. Chapter 421, Raiding Hell Valley. Chapter 421, Raiding Hell Valley. Whoosh! Thousands of people landed. Their gaze forward a misty valley stretched just out of reach. Black and violet, sinister, and creepy, a jacked-up old man walked into the thick mist with a smile. At some point, Li Jingtian looked back at Zhuo Fan. Hell Valley sure is cautious, activating their 5th-grade array already. We'll need at least a day to break it. Which house doesn't have misgivings in these troubled times? It's all within my calculations. Zhuo Fan went to the front and investigated the mist with a mocking gaze. As for punching through, it won't take that long. Zhuo Fan's right eye flashed in a double, golden halo. Divine Eye of the Void, 2nd stage. Void Annihilation. Whoosh! A vibrating ray shot out of Zhuo Fan's eye and into Hell Valley, followed by a series of booms and bangs. The mist trembled twice before lifting completely. Li Jingtian looked at Zhuo Fan in glee, and a thumbs up. That's our steward, Zhuo. Breaking an array like this is so damn convenient. When it comes to arrays relying on space, you just have to burst their bubble, and the array would unravel by itself. That's what this move of mine is all about. There's nothing great about it. Zhuo Fan casually said, but Li Jingtian sighed inside. If it's that easy, do you see anyone else doing it? Zhuo Fan's every move was simple, yet astonishing to anybody who witnessed his feats. Li Jingtian held Zhuo Fan in even higher regard. The array is open, attack! Zhuo Fan motioned. Li Jingtian led the charge, taking thousands of bone-tempering cultivators and rare, profound heaven ones deeper inside. The men shouted and roared, the black cloud unleashing a frenzied raid on the valley. Swallowing at the patrols couldn't even shout as the massive influx of people was in their face. The shock and fear was buried so deep inside that they were reduced to standing there dumbly rather than sound the alarm. Oh, gods above, what the hell is this? Did the array fail for so many to come in? How did they all get in so fast? They were so out of it, they simply waited for the attackers to reap them. The only reaction out of the patrols was when spiritual weapons pierced their chests. The cries became wails as blood and gore splattered everywhere. Their bodies slumping lifeless, the assault kept on charging unimpeded. Enemy attack! A final shout rose up every disciple, discovering their home was invaded, and they shouted out in panic. Juofan's timing was excellent, catching them at their lowest, finishing off the panicking Hell Valley disciples. Oh, there were some brave defenders popping every now and then to stem the tide, but they didn't even get to take out their demonic treasures as a group of elite youths surrounded them for a second, then left behind a mangled body as they moved on to the next target, the captain's inn. This assault with a stalwart guard, Juofan, had Captain Peng trained in the Wraith art 10 years ago. This was their first sortie of this scale, and for some, their very first kill, yet they all took to it like fish to water, showing no remorse, unlike the wretched and excruciating torture called training. Watching the friends around them fall one by one, the killing here was a breeze. Juofan had sent them to hell to come back as fiends that not even the likes of a cruel and bloody war could shake. These kids will be the cornerstones of the house. Juofan stood on a distant peak, watching and analyzing the situation. Li Jingtian nodded in praise. Steward Jua, the training of all those years is paid up, ha ha ha. Juofan closed his eyes, tuning in to the natural symphony around him, of cries, wails, pleadings, slumping bodies in their own blood, forming a sweet melody to his ears and bringing an innocent and genial smile to his lips. These sounds gave the signal for the Luo clan's expansion. Luo clan's march to rule them all with an iron fist. It was what he had hoped and aimed for. This goal of his was finally taking shape. Meanwhile, a stone gate flew open as a bloody and filthy Hell Valley disciple plopped inside. Blood gurgling from his throat, the 4 elders inside cried, "What is going on out there?" "Enemy attack." The disciple gave his very life uttering those 2 words. His head slumped, his life gone. All that remained were eyes filled with horror, further unnerving the men. This is absurd. Just what the hell is going on? Who are the ignorant fools that dare set foot in Hell Valley? The leader roared, another said. But why has there been no reaction from the array? Has it been breached? The 4 panicked. It had to be done swiftly for these elders to not notice until now that they had been invaded. What power must have done this? The 4 released their discerning fields, their minds. Eye view had them all gasping. They saw a swarm of people shouting as they killed anyone they saw. Their 10,000 disciples couldn't muster a token of resistance against a meager few thousand. The 4 senses looked further and noticed 2 men on a hill. One was in the 3rd layer of profound heaven stage and was ignored. Turning to the peak radiant stage expert next to him, the 4 men felt like crying. The number of peak radiant stage experts in Tianyu could be counted on one hand. How come one of them has come to Hell Valley? The High Venerable was in the 5th layer while the rest were only in the 4th. Not even together could they hope to beat that freak. For God's sake, who the hell is it? Regent estate or imperial family? What did we do to have them wipe us out? One complained. High Venerable shook his head. No, Valley Lord said, we're still allied with Regent estate. As for the imperial family, it's now stuck dealing with problems cropping up in the last 1,000 years. It won't come. And that radiant stage expert's aura feels familiar. High Venerable, do you know him? The rest shouted. High Venerable shuddered and sighed. How could I ever forget? We all know him. Didn't we witness him clashing with Huangpu Fenglei on the eve of the Luo clan ceremony? Mad Dipper. They all cried. High Venerable nodded, depressed. What's worse, what other profound heaven expert do you know of who stands by his side? It's Juofan, the demonic steward of Luo clan. We all saw him taking Li Jingtian and Huangpu Fenglei's all-out attacks like nothing. We have no hope of winning. The other 3's hearts sunk to the bottom. Their faces ashen, they couldn't even handle one of them. The 4 old men felt like weeping. Juofan has finally struck. We get it that you have to attack at some point, but why come to us? Wasn't the regent estate always against you at every turn? We've already lost enough elders to you, so why come back for more? Think we're pushovers now, is that it? They all felt like heaven had beset them with the greatest grief in the world, but reality came knocking, and they had to man up to the danger. High Venerable's eyes flashed with resolve. Old Third, you are the fastest. Fly to Valley Lord and report the situation. We three will buy you time. Elder brother. Old Third teared up, but High Venerable nodded with a reassuring smile. Juafan had his eyes turned to the source of those discerning fields. Oh, for senses have picked us up. So what's taking those geezers so long to come out? Are they scared and huddled together? Totally. Li Jingtian laughed. Chapter 422, Singing Another Tune. Chapter 422, Singing Another Tune. Whoosh! 3 figures flashed on the battlefield. Ignoring the wails below and going in Juafan's direction, Juafan mocked. Humph! Such guts to come at me instead of running. I think they are instead coming here to die. Li Jingtian snickered. The 3 venerables appeared in their sights. They all came with clear thoughts of becoming martyrs, while holding the enemy back. But seeing the 2 savages had them shaking, still High Venerable scrutinized them, gulped, and found any word lacking in this situation. The other 2 sighed, scared before even fighting. Now what? Brother, we have to buy the Old Third some time. Recalling his mission, High Venerable took a deep breath and scrounged up the scraps of courage within to shout, Juafan, you've gone too. Juafan had no time to indulge in this guy's pedantic style and asked, weren't there 4 senses? Where's the other one? High Venerable's courage got stuck in his throat. Juafan's haughty and obnoxious attitude, like a big kahuna, lorded over them with such pressure that their heads jerked back. This was called the power gap. They were like first-level spiritual beasts facing a 6th-level spiritual beast. With no chance whatsoever coming out alive, the 3 threatened to burst out in tears. They were radiant stage cultivators, Hell Valley's venerables, but they couldn't even get a worthy death. Li Jingtian cracked up. Jarring to their ears, Juafan shook his head. Not like one missing person would make a difference. Juafan took out a gourd and let bloodworms wiggle out. They looked downright eager to get out of that darkness they had known all their lives. Ready to enjoy the big outdoors. Here's the deal. Eat it, and you're one of us, becoming Luo clan's elders. Don't, and I'll just have to take you back as corpses. Juafan was like a tyrant in his demands. The 3 jerked and panicked. Juafan had actually come to them to offer an olive branch with Juafan's illustrious reputation of a savage demon and the bad blood between the houses. They had the impression that he had come here to cull them. They were even ready to lay down their lives. So why were they so happy? To a dead man, a glimmer of hope would blossom in his heart. The instinct of self-preservation with a force that couldn't be denied. It was like jumping off a cliff and then finding out that there was an extra rope beside you. Would you capture it or let it slip? What kind of dumb choice is that? Who's so retarded to take splattering as an upside to life? But the life veterans that the old fogies were agreeing so quickly would net them what? A lower status. Hence, ergo, and prop to hawk, High Venerable stroked his beard, held his head high and put on airs. Juafan, if you're going headhunting, isn't it a bit thin? We are, after all, Hell Valleys. Elder Li Kilem. Juafan deadpanned. Li Jingtian grinned, cracking his knuckles as a fire lit in his eyes. The 3 jerked like mice, waving around in panic. Let's be reasonable. Don't resort to violence. Humph, you old coots, I've already said my piece. 1 more, or less will hardly make a difference. Yet you dare posture before me? It's to the afterlife with you. Juafan snorted. The 3 jerked and bobbed their heads like cute children holding out the gourd. Juafan watched them each swallow a bloodworm, and so, easy peasy lemon squeezy, Luo clan gained 3 more radiant stage elders. Though Juafan didn't give a flying fig about them. They were of even less value than Yen Song, a peak profound heaven expert, but every penny counted. Even if those pennies were so thin and corroded that you wanted to throw them, they all had their use sometime in the long future, and the newly baked elders? Now they were clued in as to why a die-hard expert like Li Jingtian fell in with Zhuo Fan. Besides bloodworms control, Zhuo Fan's attitude left no room for dissidence. Sir Zhuo. Steward Zhuo. Zhuo Fan's icy tone warned High Venerable jerked and nodded. Steward Zhuo, we have another elder sneaking out to report. He is still close. Should I call him to join Steward Zhuo's camp? The other two bobbed. The four of them were a clique, with three of them coerced into working under Zhuo Fan. The day would come when they'd have to kill their brother, so having the old third join the gang in one big, happy family worked out. Smashingly, Zhuo Fan shook his head. No need. One less won't make a difference. The three looked downcast. Steward, Zhuo never gave a hoot about us. It was best to play it safe and not get on the young master's nerve, they reckoned. Not even Li Jingtian could take his punishment if he did, while they would downright breathe their last in the process. Better wag my tail at every order. Luo clan is a den of monsters. We are 3 Radiant Stage experts here. Yet this young master doesn't bat an eye. Tears welled up again. The fond times of being at the top seemed so far away. You 3, the fighting isn't over. Go lend a hand. Zhuo Fan glanced at the slaughter below and ordered they shuttered. The fighting was one-sided to begin with, and them going would only speed things up. Zhuo Fan was having them go for another reason. To make them kill their own disciples a second ago, they were still Hell Valley's venerables. Yet in the next moment, they were ordered to go kill their own clansmen. It was a little hard to take Steward Zhuo. A man of power should look after the ones below him. How about I try and get Hell Valley's disciples to join the Luo clan? High Venerable looked on pleading. Li Jingtian nodded. It's not a bad idea, Steward. Kill. Zhuo Fan snapped. Your status in Luo clan is based solely on merit. With no merit, we'll be off with your head. Luo clan does not raise as pansies. SSS. Zhuo Fan clearly wanted Hell Valley dead to the last man. Dog and weed if the 3 venerables dragged their feet any longer. They'd soon join the bloody mud. This wasn't as simple as turning coats, but was cutting off any relation with Hell Valley. And these 3 were demonic cultivators, without shame or remorse. Now that they had grasped a lifeline, would they let it get cut over something as insipid as integrity? The 3 swooped in without preamble. They had tried their best to plead the kid's case to Zhuo Fan. It's not our fault Zhuo Fan wants us to kill you. Kill, brothers. Stand your ground. One tall disciple shouted, waving his sinister saber, pushing back the 5 enemies around. I've already notified the venerables. They will soon provide help. Just hold on. Whoosh! A gray robe appeared before him. The disciple shouted in joy, High Venerable, you're finally... The bright smile froze on his face as his chest gained an extra large breathing room, with blood seeping out. The High Venerable flashed to his next target, just that this one, who had been holding on for the better part of an hour, froze on his spot as happiness was replaced with doubt. What the hell? Why is the High Venerable attacking us? In this moment of greatest doubt in his life, he lost his life. Each venerable flitted across the battlefield, across every corner, because they were Radiant Stage experts who were Hell Valley's venerables. Once they joined the war effort, they mowed down the disciples by the scores. Zhuo Fan watched it all with a cold, critical eye, and a snicker. Li Jingtian didn't get it. Steward Zhuo, why did you shoot down that old guy's proposal? In times of war, one needs to avoid surrendering before even battling. We are on the brink of clashing with Regent Estate, and I can't have unknowns left in our midst. If anything, I don't have enough bloodworms to control them all. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed. Besides, what Luo clan lacks is experts. These 3 coots got invited to cover this weakness. Letting them come on board with their entire clan will make this harder, maybe even capsize us. Li Jingtian shuddered inside and cupped his hands. I am in awe of Steward. She was impeccable scheming. Chapter 4:23 Slaughter and Desecration. Chapter 4:23 Slaughter and Desecration. The raid on Hell Valley ended as quickly as it had begun. Valley, Lord Yuan Shan, and the elders were visiting Regent Estate for the plans on how to deal with drifting flowers edifices and the others. Of the 4 venerables guarding the valley, 1 escaped, 3 turned, and the valley now looked like the aftermath of a tornado, even with a number of 10,000. The disciples couldn't handle the incoming raid of just a few thousands of Luo clan's guards for more than a few short hours, and were killed to the last one at the first light of a glorious red dawn. The hellscape of the valley laid bare. The howls halted, the place deserted, with only streams of blood flowing down the mountains, releasing its repugnant stench, and as a true picture of hell. It couldn't do without corpses, lots and lots of them to make a mountain, all strewn about, waiting for anyone to come give them a proper burial. Steward Jua, it's done. Li Jingtian glanced below at the genocide and turned a flat face to Zhui Fan. Zhui Fan spoke after a pause. Take the bodies back to Luo clan. We can now get on to more serious matters. Getting serious? Taking Hell Valley wasn't serious enough? Li Jingtian asked. Zhui Fan grinned. Ha ha ha. Did you think I'd need so many people to destroy Hell Valley? Us 2 are more than enough. Then Li Jingtian probed. Zhui Fan said, Desecration. SS. Li Jingtian shuddered and gasped. Steward Zhua, the dead are to be respected. Is your hatred with Hell Valley running so deep that you need to dig up their ancestors? Ha ha ha. You're jumping too far ahead. I never cared a whit about Hell Valley 9 years ago, and it goes double now. Besides, the most people I've killed came from this house. They should be the one hating me to the bone, not the other way around. Then, why Li Jingtian was lost. Zhui Fan had a crafty smile. Go do your part while I do mine. Li Jingtian left because he believed Zhui Fan's every decision was backed by reason. The Luo clan obeyed Zhui Fan's orders to the letter, taking it like any ordinary day back at the job. Only the Hell Valley venerables were jumpy. They had turned their backs on Hell Valley in exchange for their lives, and were now forced to do such tasks faced with the order of digging up their ancestors. They just couldn't do it. That was where Hell Valley's elders, valley lords and venerables were laid to rest. What logical explanation did the posterity have to dig them up? This is outrageous. The trio were going to see Zhui Fan about this. Pre-treason, that the 2 clans weren't enemies to such a degree. Li Jingtian saw through their intent and glared. You newbies, listen up and listen well. In Luo clan, Steward Zhua's word is law. Any complaints you have will be met with a quick trip down under. Li Jingtian flew away. The trio sighed in helplessness. Stopping in their tracks, a guest could only play a guest in a host's home. Since Steward Zhua wants us to shame our ancestors to get our trust, we're his men. They took this task as Zhui Fan's test of loyalty, to have them break all ties with Hell Valley. After flipping over one's granddaddy's tomb, one lost all right to call this place home. A darn shame that all their conjectures were wrong from the get-go. Zhui Fan never cared about them, but to prove their change of heart, they worked the hardest in tomb raiding their long ancestors. Li Jingtian didn't take much to have them figured out, and laughed. Steward Zhua, these old coots will do anything to get your trust. Ha ha. Li Jingtian mocked. Zhui Fan had a faint smile. Nothing strange about it. Respecting one's ancestors is the righteous way, while demonic cultivators only pay attention to power. That makes digging up one's old man more common with demonic cultivators. When taking people in, one needs to keep an eye on their character. These 3 are expert demonic cultivators. I don't care if they bear any grudge for me after this, since all you have to do is sit on them and they'll be as meek as lambs. Steward Zhua is a genius. That's why you sent the order to have them dig their ancestors. You never feared their resentment. You truly know the heart of a demonic cultivator. Li Jingtian laughed. Zhui Fan shook his head, hardly. Righteous cultivators aren't any different. Give them enough incentive and they'll do the most menial and nasty thing you ask. Just that they had to always dress it up with fancy justice. Like they do it. Ha ha ha. Zhui Fan had a strange smile. Throwing Li Jingtian off on a loop, Li Jingtian's eyes lit up. Having picked up something in the corner, the Luo clan members were digging up Hell Valley's ancestors. everywhere but there. 24 people moved around the place and looked around. Not doing much of anything, they were the emperor-bestowed profound heaven fakers, while the rest of the Luo clan was putting their backs into it. They didn't do so much as lift a pebble, blast it. These guys were last in the Battle of Hell Valley, and now they're goofing off when it comes to work. See how I'll give them an earful. Li Jingtian stomped, but Zhuo Fan stopped him from going. Elderly easy, let them go. Besides, they've completed their mission. When we return, take care of them and make sure the 3 newbies see it to drive fear into them. To their mission. Yep, leaking. Zhuo Fan snickered. Why else would I bring these losers along? To drag me back? Then you. Let them inform the emperor. Zhuo Fan smiled. Even before the Luo clan rose to power, the emperor had these guys play the moles. That's why I had Elderly handle them all this time, letting them report only what we wanted. After feeding them for so long, they finally have a use, to report to the emperor. What? Be but Steward Zhuo, why do this? Isn't the emperor focused on you? Li Jingtian jumped in fright. Zhuo Fan was reckless. If the imperial family joined Regent Estate in coming here, they were finished. Zhuo Fan could escape with his ridiculous power, but the Luo clan members would fall for sure. All the effort spent raising them for the last decade would go to waste. Zhuo Fan laughed. Elderly, that's only half true. He isn't focused just on me, but on everyone. Taking the lone road means everyone in this world is your enemy, be it in the court or outside it. Blinking, Li Jingtian was still lost, and Zhuo Fan continued. Elderly, who do you think he wants to kill right now? You, of course. He even allowed the 7 houses to use the demon purging decree. Ha ha ha, wrong. He wants to get rid of chess pieces. Me, Regent Estate, and Zhuge Changfeng included. How will the nation change if he only gets rid of me? Regent Estate will get the houses, becoming the biggest power outside court and a threat to him. While in court, Zhuge Changfeng will be against him every step of the way. This is something he wants to avoid at all costs. So after getting wind of what we're doing here, he will not only sweep it under the rug, but even help me. Zhuo Fan's eyes shined, his voice firm that confused Li Jingtian even more. Help you? Indeed. Zhuo Fan smiled. I can't kick the bucket just yet, or Regent Estate will have free reign. We got word that he has sent divine dragons to assist the Regent Estate. To help, all right, but it's only a thinly veiled disguise to force them into fighting us. He doesn't want us to remain in a stalemate. But when I make my move, because Regent Estate is stronger, they will act faster than me. At that time, the help will drag the Regent Estate down, to give us room to build strength and fight only when we're on equal footing. That's the best way for the Emperor to swoop in and swallow us both by letting those fools snitch to the Emperor. I am in fact telling him that I've made my move and plan on removing his biggest thorn, the 7 houses. This will make his day for sure, and he'll tell Feng Qiubai to hold back Regent Estate's campaign against our allies while giving me time to take these corpses back and refine them. That's all we need. Once we get these bodies ready, no one in Tianyu can stand up to us. It will be ours for the taking, ha ha ha. Cackling, Zhuo Fan's eyes shone with confidence. The Emperor had taken into account every step across the board. But what he overlooked were my killer moves. This will be his downfall. Li Jingtian stared at him befuddled, then exclaimed, Steward Zhuo, although I am rough and a bore and can't understand a word, I do sense you have victory in sight. That's great. You guys play your schemes as mere games. If I had my own faction, I'd be twisted around your fingers till I breathed my last. Chapter 424, Worse Than Death. Chapter 424, Worse Than Death. Whoosh! The Luo clan needed 10 days to dig the entire cemetery 3 feet deep. The ancestors across countless generations, seeing the light of day, once again, there were over 1,000 profound heaven experts and hundreds of radiant stage experts. Zhuo Fan looked mighty, pleased at the lineup. The 1,000-year legacy of the 7 houses isn't just for prop. Li Jingtian flashed before the profound heaven fakers. Take the bodies to the clan. Understood. The fakers bowed and got ready, but Li Jingtian blocked them. The 24 fakers looked at him, doubtful, snickering. Li Jingtian said, "That is meant for the others. I have something special in mind for you." "What?" Li Jingtian grinned. "To add you to the pile." The men cried, "Elderly, why? What did we do wrong?" "Leaking information, playing tricks, disobedience, to name a few." Li Jingtian stressed every word with malice. The fakers shivered, having been exposed as spies. They were on their knees in a heartbeat. "Spare us! Elderly, it's not what we wanted either." Boom! A mere flick sent such a violent wind that scattered them all over the place, blood and gore raining down. "Humph! Had you just owned up, you'd still have a corpse. But you just had to caw in my ear, making me do it myself." Li Jingtian flicked. Ignoring the gory sight, the Luo clan's disciples were used to their elders' methods, taking it in stride. They moved the corpses like nothing had happened, while the newbie trio gulped and panicked more as they saw the people's faces. Are these guys Azuras from hell? Don't they feel anything? Their comrades in battle just got wasted, yet there's no reaction? Are they made of stone? Most of the Luo clan's disciples were around 20 years of age, but this sight had the elders shaking in fear. They had no clue how Zhuo Fan shaped them up into such cold-blooded killing machines. Watching the dead faces of the youths filled them with dread. Is this the real Luo clan? The trio rejoiced for turning sides. Even if Luo clan wouldn't get to rule the land soon, these youths would grow into a fiendish squadron that would level the nation in the future compared to Luo clan's strong elders. These youths were the most frightening asset. Zhuo Fan isn't normal. Even though they were demonic cultivators themselves, they'd never thought of running their disciples through hell, to say nothing of doing it en masse besides fear. The trio now had respect when looking at the distant Zhuo Fan. Demonic cultivators worship strength. Zhuo Fan not only had power, but endless tricks, opening their eyes to the true meaning of the term demonic. "You three, listen up!" A shout roused the trio out of their reverie. Li Jingtian stared at them, and they lowered their heads. "Escort the people carrying the bodies back to Luo clan. Don't mess up. If I find out that you've been up to no good, humph. Well, let me tell you, you've taken Steward Zhuo's bloodworm, and in 1,000 miles he can have your heads. Get the picture?" "Yes, totally. Don't worry, elderly, we will never slight this." The three bowed in unison. Li Jingtian nodded and flew back to Zhuo Fan. The elders had finally taken their betrayal seriously. Not like they had a choice. Be it Zhuo Fan or Li Jingtian, both of their methods were cruel. They didn't even flinch, slaughtering their own men. "Won't killing us come easier?" Scared of Li Jingtian's display, the trio became meek, taking their mission as their calling. Being stuck on escort duty, Zhuo Fan took out a parchment with many lines on it. Hell Valley's domain map and its cities. There were also thousands of red dots on it. Handing it over to Li Jingtian, he said, "Elderly, gather 1,000 swift men and have them dig 3 feet on these spots. Also, send word around of our purging of Hell Valley. Have those vassals of theirs crumble in fear." On it, regardless of doubts, Li Jingtian followed his orders as always. The 1,000-men detachment spread in all directions, sweeping the Hell Valley domain in search of their target Zhuo Fan, and Li Jingtian began their own search. Beneath a huge tree, they dug up a man-sized clay figure. It looked human, yet lacked the feel of one. It also had a natural vibe to it, just like ginseng. Yet this one was in the shape of a human. It had closed eyes and withered, just like a plant. The more Li Jingtian looked at it, the odder he felt. Like this thing in front of him was human, yet wasn't Steward Zhuo. Just what is this thing? Why haven't I heard of it? Li Jingtian asked. Zhuo Fan shook his head. "It is a man and our clan scout. He had to be buried here for 3 to 4 years." "What?" Li Jingtian cried. Zhuo Fan explained. "Elderly, you understand the cruelty of wraith art. To a martial fanatic like you, it means nothing. But if those children train in it well, you know the odds of success are slim at best." Li Jingtian nodded. "But do you know what happens to the rejects?" Zhuo Fan had a deep look as he regarded Li Jingtian and patted the clay figure. Yes, they turn into this, becoming our ears. SSS. Gasping, Li Jingtian looked stunned. The clay doll had no human feel. No matter how he scanned it, it was just not human, yet it once was. Steward Zhua said just now that it can send information, but how? Zhua Fan continued. On failing to cultivate the wraith art, one would die at worst, while at best they would have their meridians shattered and live the rest of their life as a vegetable. But the demonic path has a skill, myriad breaths, a soul cultivation method, though not without its caveats. Only the soul alone can be trained, turning the vessel into a dried husk. In time, the soul's aura will, along with the body, blend in with nature, turning into this human pillar. Don't take it for just a clay man, when in fact it has a soul stronger than a profound heaven expert's. And with its sublime feel, tuning in with nature itself, not even a radiant stage expert can pick up on it. I had the kids who failed to train in wraith art, train in this myriad breaths and become human pillars. Miss Lei and her team buried them in the 7 houses vicinity at their doorsteps. Through their souls, they send out the information in a 1,000-meter radius. In this way, it is relayed to our scouts 100 miles away, where it is decrypted through another method and safely brought back to me. How else could we have known of Regent Estate's plan to attack our allies? That Valley Lord took his elders to Regent Estate and left his home empty for us to attack? Although Luo clan was late in setting up its intelligence network, we are without a doubt the best in Tianyu. Zhuo Fan laughed at Li Jingtian's goony look. There is such a magical art in this world, and Steward Zhuo used it to gather intel. Looking down at the silent clay man, Li Jingtian sighed. Just who could make such a degenerate cultivation method? What's the point of having a strong soul if you'll end up like this, a frozen husk? This is a life worse than death, living in constant pain. Correct. That's just what this cultivation method offers, a life worse than death. And its creator didn't even train in it. Zhuo Fan smiled. When that old demon created it, he had his disciples train in it to devour their souls and boost his own. Because of the soul's natural feel, it was easily assimilated. In just 1 year, the geezer entered the radiant stage from the profound heaven stage. In 3, he was in the ethereal stage. You can actually do that. Li Jingtian's sad look turned brighter. Drooling at the clayman, the kid training in myriad breaths can be such a wonderful tonic. Who knew? Zhuo Fan mocked. Elderly, let me stop you right there. There's no such thing as shortcuts in cultivation. I haven't finished telling you how the old demon met his end. His speed was fast, but the souls of his disciples were filled with anguish and despair. And because anger and despair built up so much inside of him, his soul disintegrated under the strain. If not for this, I'd have used the thousands of Luo clan human pillars for myself. Shuddering, Li Jingtian chuckled awkwardly. I should have known by now. Steward Zhuo isn't one to let any chance slip. This goes to show the method has issues. Chapter 4:25. Fodder is fodder. Chapter 4:25. Fodder is fodder. Zhuo Fan took Li Jingtian across the central area of Hell Valley, picking up human pillars and spreading rumors of Hell Valley's destruction at the hands of the Luo clan. This breaking news created a wave that shook all of Tianyu. No one had seen it coming. That Luo clan would ignore everything and strike down Hell Valley without a rhyme or reason. Any Tianyu citizen worth his salt knew that the 7 houses and imperial family were in a balance, and that the imperial family would never allow for. Another house war to break out the testament was Regent Estate holding on to its ambitions for Drifting Flowers edifices for the past 1,000 years. Just so that the imperial family wouldn't get an excuse, but Luo clan, in all its insufferable boldness, had ruined everything. It tore its confinement, lashed in the face of the people, and ripped Hell Valley off the face of this world. It was not just a petty house squabble either, but a show of force to the emperor. All clans had now turned their gazes to the emperor, waiting for his response. They were also praising Zhuo Fan's powder keg-like temper, thinking that lashing out at the emperor wasn't bad enough for him to go ahead and drag his clan down with him as well. This was a hefty crime deserving of total annihilation in the face of the new house's rebellion. The people were looking forward to the emperor's response, but the average citizen had no clue how the big bosses above him were clashing. That every faction was looking at this development with eagerness, the emperor was the most excited, who should be laughing his heart out right about now. Ha ha ha. The emperor was having the time of his life, reading the latest report. I didn't help him all these years for nothing after all. He finally showed himself, and not with half measures, but while striking Hell Valley off the map. He didn't even spare their ancestors' graves. Ha! Your Majesty, desecration may be a bit excessive here. Even I have to disagree with this. Dugu at his right nodded in anger. I get the feeling that the kid is a real man sometimes, while also a degenerate rest of the time. It's all fine. All I wanted was for him to make his move. He can do anything else for all I care. The more revolting his actions, the better. It will help me a lot when going against the houses. They'll have no way to use the excuse of rewarding my loyal officials with acts. Hee hee! How can you cherish someone who does crimes against humanity? The emperor revealed a twisted smile. Dugu nodded. The setting the emperor had laid out was cunning and vile, unlike his candid nature as a god of war. But for the safety of the people, on eliminating these variables, he would fall in line and obey the orders. Your Majesty, when will I act? No rush. Let them squirm around a little longer. The emperor sighed. However, I do need to show the people my stance. The emperor yelled at the servants at the door, draft my orders. The 8th Nobel House, Wingay City's Luo clan, is accused of manslaughter and desecration, of most heinous crimes. By my order, the clans are to root out this evil and bring me their head. The reward shall be the title of noble house. Understood. The servant left Dugu face twitched, and he sighed inside. Your Majesty, that right, there is pure rubbish. If it were that easy to get Zhuofan's head, he'd have taken it ages ago, though the edict still had its perks, giving Dugu's army the righteous reason to purge him while the Luo clan and Regent estate would be duking it out. Dugu army would swoop in to obliterate the former, only to destroy them all. The emperor was aiming for this, but thinking of his godson, Dugu heart couldn't bear it. Meanwhile, Yu Ming was at the second prince's new house. Waiting on Valley Lord's orders, second prince stormed into the room. Something huge has just happened, Sir Yu Ming. Second prince, easy. There's a solution to everything if you keep your calm. Yu Ming waved. Second prince paused to cool his jets and bowed. Sir Yu Ming, you are truly cut from a different cloth. You have my complete admiration. I have always been on edge and can't calm down, but I still need Sir's help in the future. Second prince is too kind. Yu Ming nodded and asked, Now, your highness, just what happened to get you so flustered? Nothing much. Just that Zhuofan raised Hell Valley. What? Yu Ming was outraged. What did you say? Where's the report? Here. Second prince took out the paper from his sleeve. Sir Yu Ming is so open-minded, tranquil in the face of anything. Even as your own home lays in ruins, you don't bat an eyelid. I am truly amazed. God damn it, why so long-winded? Reading the paper turned Yu Ming's face pale. The paper fell to the floor as he stood there frozen, slaughtered, and desecrated. Zhuofan, are you that cruel? Yu Ming's eyes trembled, his body rigid, and only his mouth moved. Zhuofan, you rotten lowlife. He forced me. Sir Yu Ming, is everything all right? Second prince asked, sighing. Yu Ming resumed calmly and said, Your Highness, I have some matters to attend to. I will be gone for a few months. Please don't act rashly in my absence. Goodbye. Yu Ming left right away with hurried steps, his eyes flashing. He had to plan his escape carefully. Only the second prince was left behind, hanging and speechless. At the same time, in a valley 100 miles away from Drifting Flower City, many experts were gathered, even the heads of many powerful clans. Bam! Yu Wanshan slammed the jade slip into the ground. This is outrageous, Zhuofan! I will have you ripped to pieces. What happened, Valley Lord you? Huangpu Tianyuan asked. Yuan Shan panted and cupped his hands. For the first time ever, tears trailing down his face. Estate Lord Huangpu, you are the head of houses. You must give Hell Valley justice. I just got word from the Third Venerable that Zhuo Fan along with Li Jingtian has raided Hell Valley. The other 3 venerables fought back, but I fear they have fallen as well. Please, Estate Lord Huangpu, send your men to assist. What? Huangpu Tianyuan was stunned. We haven't even begun our attack on Drifting Flowers edifices, and yet he struck Hell Valley. Yuan Shan gave a mournful nod. The Hell Valley's elders were enraged. Turning to Huangpu Tianyuan with expectant looks, they all looked on with hope that their boss would give his support. Huangpu Tianyuan only stroked his beard. Sir Lung, what do you think? Hell Valley is our ally. Valley Lord Yu is our close friend. Of course we'd go out on a limb to help him. Lung Wucheng shouted. Hell Valley's contingent perked up. Looking at him with gratitude, Huangpu Tianyuan looked at him dazed though. Since when did the shrewd Sir Lung turn righteous? But Lung Wucheng showed his true color soon enough, be that as it may. Lung Wucheng sighed. Zhuo Fan's treachery knows no bounds. Going without a plan will like playing into his hand. We have to avoid that. Valley Lord Yu, rest assured, we will avenge your home. But we are now on the eve of striking Drifting Flower City. We must first handle Drifting Flowers edifices. Huangpu Tianyuan nodded. Drifting Flowers edifices is in cahoots with Zhuo Fan. Taking them out will soothe Valley Lord Yu's anger. Everyone nodded. Pilking Hall and Mary Woods enjoyed the show. Sneering all the time at Hell Valley, Yuan Shan was fuming, his face red. He flipped around and shouted, Sir Fang, you are His Majesty's reinforcements to quell Zhuo Fan. That wretched servant is running amok in Hell Valley, and you are just going to do nothing? Ah, Zhuo Fan's mind is a maze and his actions a mystery. Sir Lung is right. We need to take it one step at a time. First comes Drifting Flowers edifices, sweeping clean all places he might turn to when he is desperate. Then we will go after him when he has no place to hide. Valley Lord you don't need to worry. Fang Choubai spoke. He had long since received the Emperor's order to have Zhuo Fan and Regent Estate mind their own business for a while longer. Of course, he dragged this out as well, instead of pitting the 2 ahead of schedule as for the fate of cannon fodder, dubbed Hell Valley. Neither cared a whit. Fodder was fodder. They'd all die sooner or later. The hegemony for the world would ultimately come down between Zhuo Fan and Regent Estate. The rest couldn't affect it one damn bit. Yuan Shan saw the open taunts, and his anger reached boiling point, yet he was unable to do a thing. Chapter 4:26 Drifting Flowers Edifices Siege. Chapter 4:26 Drifting Flowers Edifices Siege. In Drifting Flowers Edifices main hall, Grandmother took the seat of honor with a frown. On each side of her were the 15 overseers bang. Grandmother threw a sending jade on the table and sighed. This is the Luo clan's 10th message, and like the ones before it, they all warn of a great disaster, that we need to retreat to Luo clan. What do you all say? Humph! That vile ingrate, our edifice lord, sacrificed so much for him, and this is how he repays us? By stealing our most sacred treasure. Who'd believe his messages? I bet it's just another one of his sick, twisted schemes. Peony Overseer was the first to show a negative attitude, her anger having reached a boiling point. Iris Overseer nodded after a pause. Yet the frown never left her. Nevertheless, even with Zhuo Fan's insidious mind putting us on guard on every one of his actions, it's better to believe the worst than be skeptical and suffer because of it later. Taking up arms won't harm us in the least. I have already activated our defenses for any eventuality. Grandmother nodded. As for the credibility of these jades, it remains to be seen. Boom! A rumbling sound came from outside. Rattling their ears, all overseers looked on in shock. Grandmother shook and turned downcast. Xiao Dandan burst in as fast as her legs could carry her. "Oh, God, enemy attack!" "Dandan, speak clearly." Peony Overseer said. Xiao Dandan gasped a few times. "Drifting Flower City's guarding array is under attack. Senior sisters are now inside to defend it. What do we do, Grandmother Master? We're really under attack." The overseers were incredulous. Turning to the jade slip with regret, Zhuo Fan meant nothing more than to simply inform them by sending those messages, "Grandmother." The 15 pairs of eyes turned to her. She was feeling as much regret as the next woman there, but she couldn't let it show. As the leader, everyone believed her words were always right. Even when wrong, any doubt would cripple their morale, and the battle would be half lost from the start. Grandmother flashed her eyes with steel determination, conveying confidence in this great crisis. Confidence she didn't have. Iris asked the 3 venerables to come. "Peony, send jade slips to our allies for help. The rest of you, follow me to meet the enemy. Let's see which bastards dare challenge Drifting Flowers' edifices." Grandmother hammered her staff as she made her way forward with dignity and strength. The others regained their calm and flew out of Drifting Flower City. Iris and Peony set about their tasks. Only Xiao Dandan was left there pouting. "Didn't he tell us again and again that this'll happen? Now, even if you do believe him, we are cut off and can't run." "Dandan, what are you mumbling? Who taught you to talk of your betters behind their back?" Peony Overseer glared. Xiao Dandan retorted, "What talking back? It's the truth. We got a clear warning for 3 months that this was going to come." "You know nothing," Peony Overseer barked. "Don't you know who Zhuo Fan is? He even stole Bodhi root from us. How can we trust him? How can we be sure it's not another trick? But it was Yen Fu who told me. He'd never lie to me." Xiao Dandan was stubborn. Peony Overseer shook her head. "You brat, Yen Fu was never good to begin with. Now that he's with Zhuo Fan, he's even worse. No matter how sincere, he needs to first prove that Zhuo Fan had nothing to do with it, that it wasn't false. You think I don't know where you'd been running to these months? Besides bringing the 10 sending jades, you still have 28 more love letters from that kid. How can a pure girl like you be like this? Have you no shame?" Xiao Dandan blushed and huffed. "That's beside the point. They have been giving us real information all along, yet you always second-guess his intentions, thinking there's a plot where there's nothing. You silly girl, you've been growing bolder, I see, to talk back to your master. My lessons haven't been thorough enough, it seems." Peony Overseer was at a loss and blushed with shame and anger. Xiao Dandan ran away with Peony Overseer on her heels. Their mission forgotten. Grandmother took her overseers outside and gasped at the sea of black. Leading the army were Hell Valley, Merry Woods, and Pill King Hall's lords against such a lineup, even with the home field advantage. Drifting Flowers' edifices array would be under immense strain. Gulping, Grandmother grew anxious. The overseers were scared out of their minds. Shaking all over you, Wanshan's side laughed. "Grandmother, we 3 vow to take Drifting Flowers' edifices. Surrender now. Cease these needless hostilities, and there won't be casualties." Yuan Shan held his head high. Grandmother squinted. "Valley Lord Yu, what's the meaning of this? Have you forgotten Tianyu's laws? The 7 houses are banned from engaging in civil war. Marching towards Drifting Flowers' edifices with such fanfare. His Majesty will hear of this and will exact punishment." Grandmother's speech was full of dignity and logic, but Yuan Shan laughed harder, his mocking gaze thicker. "Hey, old hag, why else would we be here in the first place? It's all by His Majesty's leave." Yuan Shan shouted. "There's no one out there coming to help a bunch of broads, ha ha ha." "What?" Grandmother was incredulous. Keeping the 7 houses in check had been the imperial family's policy since the dawn of the empire. How can they change tactics, letting the land devolve into anarchy? "Impossible," Grandmother refuted. "What crime could we possibly have committed for His Majesty to treat us so, to let you attack us?" "Ha ha ha, old crone, don't play dumb. Who doesn't know of your ties with that wretched spawn, Zhuo Fan? With the mess he made in the imperial palace, he is the nation's #1 criminal. And with your connections, you aren't far behind either. At Yuan Shan's cackle, grandmother shuddered and sighed. Zhuo Fan raised us, and now he crushes us. While Zhuo Fan was on his power trip, Drifting Flowers edifices had never been safer. But now that Zhuo Fan had become the national enemy, the others used this excuse to get to Drifting Flowers edifices. Their 1,000-year-old legacy would lay in ruins. Was it truly the right choice to have an alliance with Zhuo Fan? Much good did that thinking do at this point. All they could do was buy time for their allies to come. Help grandmother flew up and shouted, "If you want to destroy Drifting Flowers edifices, then come. I will face any contenders." Ha ha ha. I've heard so much of the Lady of Steel and have long wished to try you out. Yuan Shan flew forth, covered in gray energy, letting out eerie cries of infants. Hatred and grief filled the sky, sweeping grandmother in its clutches. With the shrieks of agony, malignant specters made of anguish bit at her Hell Valley's profound, ranked martial art. Demonic face seal. The hearts of the overseers were in their throats. Demonic face seal was a soul attack, creepy and powerful. Grandmother had no power against it. Yuan Shan laughed. Finding victory in his grasp, it was then that a glaring white light flashed. The howling sea of agonized faces came to a halt. As ice spread all over them, they cracked to pieces, pulverizing the demonic faces, leaving room for grandmother to walk out and send Yuan Shan flying with a palm to the chest and leaving behind a scarlet trail.